any upcoming match against Houston, we're going to smoke them.
With me being on the roster and Arrow being on Dallas's team, it has a little bit of a special meaning for me just because I want to beat him. I don't think we ever want to lose to them again.
We'll always be better than them.
I lost my dad 1 month after Overwatch League started. Once he passed away, I realized time is super important. So I make it a personal responsibility to talk to my mom every day.
My name is Helen. I go by Deer, and I'm currently a translator for Team Dallas Fuel.
Pretty similar entry story to Gamster, except I've also started on Boston. I also got traded during the second season.
Quarantine for me personally, it's been the same as always. I don't leave the house.
Dallas is able to regain momentum, winning 3 straight rounds.
We won both series. The first one was a little closer than I hoped it would be, but that's okay. So now we get to pick the first 2 maps of the series.
Overwatch is definitely one of the biggest esports on the scene right now, competitive video gaming. Overwatch specifically, though, is where 2 teams of 6 players go head-to-head against one another. In traditional sports, you also obviously have different positions. Something like the quarterback is obviously the conductor. He's the guy who orchestrates everything and kind of calls the shots. Similarly, in Overwatch, you have different positions with the characters. Every character or every hero that each player is playing and controlling has a very distinctive kit or tool set of unique abilities and moves that separates them from the other ones. Overwatch is unique in the fact that on each map or in each match, there's a specific objective that you have to accomplish. In football, you want to get the ball from point A to the other side of the field at point B, and the defense is trying to stop you every step of the way. So in Overwatch, you have a bit more complex objectives, whether it's to get a payload from point A to point B or capture point A. You have to get something done, and there's another team that's trying to stop you as you're trying to do it.
A diverse cast of characters would certainly be a fitting way to describe not only the heroes within the game of Overwatch, but the heroes playing it as well.
20-minute nap and a 2-hour nap.
The Dallas Fuel and the Houston Outlaws are 2 of the most elite professional esports teams in Texas. Members of these rosters have developed long-time bonds on both sides of enemy lines. That being said, all pre-existing relationships have been temporarily placed aside, though not forgotten. Friendships, in fact, have a funny way of intensifying the will to win.
I'm really good friends with their head coach, Arrow. Good friends with Zachary, Trill, Unco, AKM, a bunch of their players. People just try way harder against their friends.
This is all about bragging rights. Being able to have that trophy, take pictures with it, and send it to Harsha is what I'm looking forward to most. Man, I just want to crush these guys on the ground.
Having taken both victories in Week 1, the Dallas Fuel earned the right to choose the first 2 maps of the eventual 6v6 face-off. But for now, in Week 2, the Houston Outlaws are eager to earn 2 advantages of their own. With anticipation growing for the 6v6 final, Dallas intends on keeping the Outlaws wrangling, while Houston hopes to burn the Fuel. This is the battle for Texas. This is the 2020 Lone Star Challenge.
Yeah, I just gotta, get my son for the day. So we live in uptown Dallas, and it's really, really nice and modern, and it's a really good area, and everything that we need is around us, stores, grocery stores, and stuff like that. So it's really nice being here, and the office is also really cool. It's like a 5-minute walk from our apartment building. It's really really high tech and cool, and everybody working together in one office. It's really nice. I miss it a lot. Just being able to come in and get my snacks from the snack area and stuff like that. I miss that part, but overall, what can you really do with pandemic going around?
I'm okay. I'm going to screw you around. I'm okay. I can handle it.
Since the last time you guys were here, I kind of, refurnished a lot. It was kind of empty, kind of a little sad, so we just got a bunch of new stuff to make the place look nice. For my typical day, I wake up, Cocoa Puffs every single morning. Doesn't matter what day it is, what's happening, Cocoa Puffs every morning. And then I usually, get up, I start playing, I play for a little bit, I take a break, maybe, watch something and then cook dinner. I also, play again for an extended period of time, maybe like 4 to 6 hours again, and then take a break, watch something, and Cocoa Puffs before bed, and then sleep. This is my Cocoa Puff collection, probably about 3 months in the making. I think there's about 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 boxes here, and a lot more to add. I eat these about 2 times a day sometimes. It's really good. Yeah, even though I just sit here and play video games all day, I do love a lot of sports. I watch a lot of baseball with my dad, basketball, hockey, and just MMA as well. It's just overall, I just really enjoy watching the top level athletes compete in whatever they're doing. It's just overall really, really cool. When there's a new player coming into a basically established roster, everybody's like, who is this guy? Can he perform and stuff like that? So there was a little bit of pressure to perform at the beginning and prove to everyone else around me that I'm good enough to be here and I'd be a good teammate. I believe that was the hardest part, but I think I was able to, ease their fears really quickly.
Keep going, Crimson.
I am ready to show everybody who I am. I'm tired of hiding. I feel like I've been hiding in contenders for 2 years.
So I played with Trill a year ago before I joined the Dallas Fuel, which he was on. He joined like half or a year before me. He was always a really good teammate of mine, and I really enjoyed coming up and being able to reunite with him again. I remember when I first knew about joining the Dallas Fuel, I was immediately going to tell him we're back together, it's happening again. Me and him always kind of go back and forth with each other.
Our NB atmosphere, we were very close with each other and we would poke fun at each other a lot.
I'm 6'3". He's probably 4'9" or something like that.
I kind of just make fun of him for being bald. And
he's like a little tiny child, just bones, there's no meat on it.
His hairline's gone a bit back. It's a bit rough back there, so I'll just make fun of him for whatever I can.
I'm from South Korea. I'm growing in Seoul. My mom, my father, and my brother in Seoul now. But it's okay. I have good teammate and good neighborhood. Yeah, Texas people so good. When I was young, I just play video game, and I always play game. When I joined middle school, my mom say you need study, you need more study. So I just study. I cannot go outside much, so I just in house and I just play game. In high school, 17, I play Overwatch first time. I just play so much, and I feel so happy. So I say to Mom, I just try, can I try pro gamer? Can I challenge pro gamer? Mom say, okay. So I just try pro gamer. And I joined team. She worried. Yeah, she worried, but she said to me, if you challenge, just do it. And you make goal, you make your goal. She always say money is not important, just important thing is your goals and your things. I think learn English is just respect their culture. So I most study English.
Hi, Jaxie. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So what are you doing these days?
I just always practice.
Do you eat something nice these days? Are you healthy?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Okay, 자, 그러면은 we'll start our lesson today.
Yeah. Sophie is very good English teacher. She teaching so many pro gamer, and she always kind. Yeah, she always kind and she always friendly.
Okay, Jaxie, because many people have questions and especially many fans are curious about you and your team.
Yeah.
So we prepare for these questions.
Yep.
So please read these questions and also answer.
Okay. Why do you want to learn English for the Outlaws? How do you lead the team through communication?
Nice.
Okay.
So, Jaxie, why do you want to learn English?
So most of my team members use English, and I study the language of the country because I respect American culture, East culture. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. So, what is your plan tonight? What is your plan today then?
I just make pork belly.
Pork belly?
Yeah.
Oh, you like cooking?
Yeah. I just make pork belly and I just make pork belly. After eating pork belly, I just practice.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you next week. Goodbye.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
120 Hz refresh rate, quad-core processor, 16 gigs of RAM, lag-free 5G, and a battery that won't quit, just like you. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G, the ultimate gaming trophy.
Thank you for joining us for the 2020 Lone Star Challenge presented by Samsung. Two of the most popular teams in the Overwatch League are fighting for the right to be named the best Overwatch League team in Texas, and the winner of the first Lone Star Challenge. Both teams extend a special thanks to Samsung, HEB, Favor, Jacklinks, and Zenny Gaming. Now, let's head back to the action and introduce you to some of the players.
For day-to-day, for scrims, our coaching staff are always recording the VODs and as they play, and we have our own talks over Discord or where we can take notes and make sure we're able to talk to the players throughout the day.
This is the spot. This is where all the coaching magic happens.
With the Lone Star Showdown, it definitely kind of helps keep the rivalry alive and well, for sure, because we're still competing with them even though we already played them, but we're going to be playing them again, and that matters a lot. Like, we still want to be on top, as well as on top of the league, right? We want to really do well at the league side of things and compete there. But with the Showdown, it means a lot to us to win that rivalry. I think our guys have the right attitude and mindset to win it.
Oh, my name's Ashley Powell, and I'm from Broome, Western Australia. My in-game alias is Trill. I play main tank for the Dallas Fuel.
On the other end, Trill, disruption with the Primal Rage, and as good as South Korea has been, they are going to get stopped a bit here.
So I come from a small town in Western Australia called Broome, and it's pretty much a small beach town, kind of one of those towns where like everyone knows everyone sort of thing. Just like a town on the coast, with beautiful beach and stuff like that. I would go early to go to the skate park before school, and then I would go from the skate park to school, and then after school would end, I would go straight back to the skate park, and then some days I would leave the skate park early, I would just go home and play games. That's pretty much what my day was like.
Activities, just cleaning up the apartment a bit, and then making sure I have some clean clothes.
With me trying to get into gaming and thinking about opportunities for it, it took a while because I sort of just played for fun really, and just played competitively, but not to the point where I was outwardly going to searching for teams and stuff like that in Australia. I would just play at the highest rank on a bunch of multiple games. Early Overwatch, a team asked me to come play with them, and I was just yeah, sure, why not, sort of thing. And then I eventually jumped really fast from the worst team in Australia to the best team in Australia. When that happened, I was kind of oh, maybe I can try something with this. We played in a bunch of small tournaments. There wasn't a whole lot of prize pool. We kind of just did it for fun. We just played. There was one Australian tournament. The prize pool was 10,000, which was huge back then. And we ended up destroying that tournament. We won. And then after that, we got talks from an org who actually offered us to play in Taiwan for 3 months in a tournament with 100K prize pool. played in Taiwan, and that's kind of like how my pro career like started. I didn't really like plan for anything. I didn't really have like high expectations. I didn't really set the bar to be like, okay, it's gonna go from here to here. I'm gonna be making all this money. At the time, it was really my passion, and so like I just wanted to just do what made me happy. So we kind of just like played in this Taiwan tournament a lot. We were placing like top 3 consistently. Eventually Blizzard like made like another tournament where it was sort of like placing teams to go play into China. So that was like our first big tournament and my first like big tournament in front of like a huge crowd. Also on top of that World Cup, I participated in like the three past World Cups. The 2018 World Cup, I think it was. I had a really solid performance in that.
Trill, he's built another Primal Rage. Exactly the disruption that Australia's needed, and Trill is gonna be the difference maker.
I had a lot of eyes on me after that, and people were like tweeting about me, saying like how insane I was. Yeah, so me playing like still pretty consistently well on high ping, I think a lot of teams were like, damn, like if we get this kid on low ping, like what's he gonna be like? Didn't think I was gonna make it after believing I would for so long, and then it kind of got to the point where it was like a lot of the openings were closing, right? I genuinely thought I wasn't gonna make it to America, and I was like really bummed about it. And then like I got a message from I think the captain of Envy at the time, and that like came out of nowhere, and I was like ecstatic. Obviously, moving away from family, friends, it can be hard for people. People will feel like lonely and stuff like that, so there's definitely a lot to sacrifice for this. Honestly, we are going to destroy them, and like who doesn't want to be the best Texan team? Who doesn't want to win this like Lone Star event? Who doesn't want this trophy, right? Like I think we're going to bring our all for this 6v6, and I think they're going to try just as hard, and I think honestly we're just going to utterly destroy them, if I'm going to be honest. We've done it in the past, it's going to happen again, and we're going to get that trophy, honestly.
We were thinking just play Reaper Moira and go Glass. Okay. Because then we can pinch their backline. If we go Glass, and then they try and rotate like pillars with their supports, we can wall them. Propel! Lapel! What's up? You cringe.
With the Korean players, I'm like constantly just making jokes with them and they're making jokes with me. I think we've bonded pretty well because I'm just really silly. I like to make people laugh.
Rio Jackson, stop that. Why? Why is the most Minecraft player, Dante?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
그냥 뭐 제가 영어를 그렇게 잘하는 편은 아니지만 최대한 영어를 하려고 노력을 하고 안 되는 거 있으면 막 바디랭귀지라도 이용해서 대화를 하는 것 같아요.
오사위! What can you make? 톨비노이! 톨비온! Made this good? Oh!
Other Western players help Korean players so they can teach English and game calls, game words, so we can play easily.
Nice. Bomb. Nice. You're welcome. Everyone.
Okay, whenever you're ready. Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
My name is Austin Mumo Woman, and I play main tank for the Houston Outlaws. I'm from a really tiny village in Ohio, really small. I was just stuck in a family of all girls, you know. There was my mom, I had my little sister, I had my younger sister. My dog was even a girl. I'm the only guy, completely. Growing up, I was really into like traditional sports. I played pretty much all of them. Soccer was definitely my favorite. I ended up playing that one for like 11 years. I got my first PC at home when I was about 16 years old, and that was about the time when I stopped playing soccer really seriously and just started playing video games all the time instead. When Overwatch first came out, I immediately like swapped over to that game. The day it came out, I played it like 12 hours that day, and it was really, really fun. That was when I first realized that like I could really do this. I was playing for my first pro teams while I was still in high school. My mom let me do it and she was fine with it as long as I was able to still be playing video games like 10 hours a day while still having straight A's. Originally it was a little rocky because like, you know, my mom she wanted me to go to college after high school and stuff. But I told her that this was like, you know, really important to me and I was enjoying it a lot. And I told her that I really did think there was a future there. And she was super skeptical at first, but the first team that like actually contracted me and salaried me, like when the first paycheck came in, it was good to finally have something tangible and be like, look mom, it's real. So after that happened, she kind of, you know, eased up a little. And then by like, I don't know, 6 months into it, I was like, hey, by the way mom, I'm moving to LA now.
Oh my god, I want to buy them all! This is great! I'll take this one and this one. This is what Oh, I love this sword!
When we first started having the matches in person in LA, it was like really nerve-wracking for me to be on stage. The pressure of competing, you know, in the main tank role, especially in my situation, since like we don't have an actual like dedicated main tank player as like a backup or anything. But I got really good at focusing only on the game and like being able to zone the crowd out completely. But honestly, at the Houston homestand, it just wasn't possible. The fans were way too loud, they were way too crazy. Every little thing that happened, every little kill, you could just hear just this eruption of volume of just screaming fans. It was so crazy. It's actually kind of weird being at home again and playing our matches online. It's like a throwback, you know, I got to spend all this time getting used to playing the matches in person. Now it's back to just playing them at home.
Alright, I'm ready?
Okay, ready?
Alright, I'm going to tell up. 3, 2,
1, go.
We met in March of 2017.
We met on Tinder, actually. Typical millennial story. We were both living in Ohio at the time.
When I was in college, Austin lived with me for most of fall semester. When I came back from winter break, which I spent in LA with him, I started to feel pretty lonely. You know, you just sort of get used to having someone around all the time and then they're not there anymore. So my family helped me get a dog, this little guy right here. I got him when he was a little puppy, he was just 6 months old. He's been with us ever since. I brought him with me to LA after I graduated, and now he's got a great big backyard that he loves to run around in all the time.
Team Envy and the Dallas Fuel are powered by Predator Gaming PCs. Get the power you need to level up your game at PredatorTrainingRoom.com. Predator, play like the pros.
Being a Houston Outlaw requires Raucous to practice for 8 to 10 hours per day. And nothing is better than HEB's delicious meal simples. He eats them every day, and when he runs low, he just goes to his My HEB app, places his order, and heads to HEB. He texts HEB when he arrives, grabs his HEB order, and heads home.
Hey, I got food! I'm back, guys.
HEB Curbside, making it easy for Raucous to be a Houston Outlaw.
Baby delivery.
Closer, we need you.
I'm here.
We need video.
You need to make sure your video's on, you noob. Yeah, I mean, OBS.
It's our assistant coach Ticketty's birthday. We used Favor to be able to get us a cheesecake and some candles to be able to surprise him for his birthday here.
OBS. Not OBS.
Not OBS.
Just
Discord.
He had it backwards. He was only recording.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, okay, alright.
So we've got all the players on a Discord call ready to surprise him, and it's little things like this that's really awesome for being able to keep us together.
Okay, I'm ready.
Alright. We are gonna get this cake ready to go and try to surprise him with it.
Yeah, no. How you gonna?
Oh no!
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Louie. Happy birthday to you. Yeah.
It's so laggy.
It's so scuff.
It's so laggy.
Oh my god. Yay! Thank you guys.
It's not gonna work.
Can we just show the dog man? Everyone will be happy with that, dude.
Yeah, show that off. You guys are awful. But we're staying safe, we're staying at home, and move that Samsung forward. It's a nice gesture.
Dallas is honestly just a nice city that doesn't smell bad, has nice people, isn't constantly busy everywhere, is actually surprisingly walkable considering how spread out Texas as a whole is. So.
Requiring tremendous chemistry between teammates, playing the tank position is well suited for these longtime friends who are able to social distance together.
Oh, you got tied up real quick.
We're out here on the Katy Trail, taking a little bit of walk, getting nudie out, getting some sun. We really haven't seen the sun in at least 6 or 7 days probably. You know, it's a rough quarantine, but sometimes you come out, enjoy the weather a little bit. It's not too bad.
Playing online doesn't feel like I'm playing in front of fans. I don't feel any tense or nervous. You know, my cat and dogs are behind me and I just play.
Vámonos, no bit. Just along the left. Nice shot, Dad. I'm pushing the video.
We won against Houston last time. It was pretty easy. And I'm looking forward to playing them again.
The 2020 Lone Star Challenge is brought to you in part by Favor, the official delivery partner of the Dallas Fuel. From your favorite Texas restaurants to everyday essentials, Favor delivers.
This is the shot. They've got one shot at this right now. What am I watching? Get out! Come on! Somebody stop this guy! Can anybody stop them? The answer is no! I need you to get up. Get up. What is this? Oh my, what? I'm telling you, baby! Now we have a game!
Though separated geographically, with a little help, families can stay connected throughout these uncertain times.
How's it been being in your apartment for 3 months?
2 months.
2 months?
2 months tomorrow. Sucks.
I miss coffee shops.
I'm sure. You know, I'm used to taking walks, 5-mile walks a day and getting out at least. But, I always work from home, so.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so what's it like in Texas, with COVID going on?
I mean, everything is I'm pretty sure people are being irresponsible here as well, but I'm just chilling. I'm not doing anything different. I'm just inside. I go to the grocery store once every 2 weeks.
Wearing mask and gloves to go?
Yep, we usually do that.
Perfect.
You know what's crazy?
What?
It's May.
I know. It's where did it go? I saw you March. I came home March 2nd, from the homestand.
Yeah.
And I haven't left my apartment since you told me to run out in the middle of the night to get water.
Yeah.
So you want to know what the highlight of my night was last night?
What's up?
I got toilet paper and paper towels. Finally, after 2 months.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah, New York's weird because there's so many cases there. I'm pretty sure New York has more cases than any country.
Oh yeah, no, New York is the worst. We are the worst because it's not just us because everybody comes from all 3 other states.
The tri-state area.
And it's dirty. So what have you been doing besides your normal practice schedule, gaming schedule? What are you playing for fun?
Ping pong, I guess. I don't know. It's hard.
Oh, ping pong's fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
You know about the showdown we have tomorrow? Do you?
Yeah, no, it was online. So what are you playing?
I can't tell you. Oh, it's only Fuel. It's only Dallas.
I know. What?
Yeah, I can't tell you.
You can't tell me what hero you play?
No.
Is it support?
I don't trust you. Nope.
You don't trust me.
Nope.
I keep all the secrets.
Nope.
Just let me know when it starts, okay? Because I've been very busy.
My neck hurts from sitting in this dang hammock for a while.
All right, no worries.
I'm gonna go inside, make some food, because I'm hungry.
I love you.
All right. I love you too. I'll call you later, probably.
Right. Bye.
Bye-bye. I know what he likes. He likes the cornbread and the green beans. He would like beets and like Brussels sprouts. Really?
Not Brussels sprouts.
Have you ever had were they soft or crunchy?
They were terrible.
You like green beans?
You like Brussels sprouts, Matt? They're good.
They're
Brussels sprouts are really good.
Oh, you don't mind green beans?
Wait, he hasn't had burnt, like, you know how you do like burnt broccoli, burnt Brussels sprouts? Roasted. Yeah, well, they call it like roasted or burnt, whatever.
Have you ever put cheese in your broccoli?
Guys, so retarded.
No.
Dude, you'd actually probably like that. Just put a bunch of cheese on it.
It sounds like you're just ruining cheese.
No. But you get some broccoli with it. And then you can be like, yeah, I eat broccoli.
Does not sound good. Let's start with the good stuff.
Alright, the meat.
Bakery.
It's the meat.
Big
meat.
Well, seafood first, then meat.
Meat.
I mean, they're both meat. What kind of food do you want tonight?
Not salad.
You want Italian food?
I want some garlic bread.
You want Italian food?
I want garlic bread.
Italian? Sure.
We do pasta.
I'm a big straw pasta.
Straw?
No, the other straw, like the thick straw.
Oh, not the penne?
I'm more of a shell kind of guy.
We'll get penne and we'll get
double dip in
shells.
the pasta?
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
go.
So you eat like salad stuff?
No, we
You
don't.
have to. You have to.
No one wants a salad.
I want a salad.
Yeah,
Do you want a salad? Do you want a salad?
No.
Jeff likes.
Now we're good.
Oh,
You can eat 2 whole salads by yourself, bud.
I'm good on salad, bro. $200.
HEB delivery. Wait, is it true that on your first 5 deliveries, you get delivery for free?
Yeah.
Since when did they have this?
They've always had this.
No, they
We
haven't.
just never bought it.
We just never used it. But now during, coronavirus, COVID-19, this helps everyone stay safe, so.
Oh, yeah.
That's true, it does.
Order placed. Let's play some ping pong.
Let's go. I'm so excited.
It's a nice, beautiful day out.
We gotta move along again today.
Why?
It's long.
It's okay.
Nah,
It's fine.
It's unkept.
We got a backyard. Never been out here before.
Yeah,
It's really peaceful. Boy, I forgot he never left the house.
Dude, isn't it so bright outside?
The last time we went to Republic Grill. The last time we went outside.
The last time we got a car.
That was like 2 months ago.
Look at his hair. Like, that's the last time we had a haircut.
He hasn't cut his hair.
Delicious.
How long are you going to grow till? You ever gonna cut it?
It'll grow until I stop being lazy.
Isn't that crazy? I haven't got one since
grown up.
December.
I haven't got one since like July.
When's the last time we got one?
I said July.
When's the last time we got one?
Right before the first homestead. Right before Philly.
Was it February?
Yeah, didn't you get it in New York? Or no, you got it in Houston, right? I don't know.
Oh my god.
Wait, where?
Don't do any sudden movements.
T-Rex each.
That's how it works. Don't look at it in the eye.
Shop online or through the HEB app to purchase your groceries today. Here, everything's better.
120 Hz refresh rate, quad-core processor, 16 gigs of RAM, lag-free 5G, and a battery that won't quit, just like you. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G, the ultimate gaming trophy.
This is what I live for, the detail in Overwatch. Imagine designing maps specifically for 3v3 or 1v1.
Okay, with all these comps, we're gonna want to take control of this face, right?
Want to hold the high ground. Get there first.
Yeah, I think high ground's really good here. So whatever comp we decide to play, let's take the high ground.
The ball, echo, mercy dive is good here, right? We just dive them while they come to the top.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we do.
According to my calculations, if you roll out, use your string on the tower, and you hold it and then release as you're crossing the next door, and you get a big slam, and then our said DPS divers can flank and hit the same time at their backline.
Yeah, I like this strat. It's a good one right here. I like it.
If we can't hold space on top with our bunker comp, we can just chill in one of these rooms and then go out when point unlocks, try and get a shield and get them when they fall down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it, coach.
Awesome. Good review, guys.
All right, guys, are we ready to beat Dallas?
Let's go!
Let's go!
Woo!
Yeah, so we are getting ready to jump into our second set of challenges. So it'll be another 1v1 set, another 3v3 set. And you know, the goal here is if we win these, we get map picks in our 6v6 grand final match. So we are getting ready to jump on in. I think we have a pretty good chance today again. You know, last time we went 2-0. We won both 1v1 and 3v3 challenges. So I'm expecting to do the same again here. You know, because I want to be able to have all 4 map picks. So that's the plan. And I think we're ready to go.
What are we playing? What are we playing?
All right, boys. Day 2. We have another set of 1v1 and 3v3s. We got this, okay? We took 2-0 last time. We're going to do it again. Let's do it.
Dude, this comp will be OP for like Ryan. Let's go.
Alright, you can play
Ryan, Lucio, and Soldier.
Okay.
We're literally just gonna run up the robot and go straight into this one. High ground.
High ground? Okay.
In week 2 of the Lone Star Challenge, both the Dallas Fuel and the Houston Outlaws know exactly what's on the line. 2 critical map selections in the Battle for Texas finale, and potentially more importantly, bragging rights.
I think we're about to start off with an absolute banger here. It looks like on the cards it's going to be Doha and Dante.
Knowing all eyes are on them, both Dante and Doha carry the responsibility and the burden of providing their respective teams with early life as the 1v1 series gets underway.
Long range to beam, no! It doesn't connect, he has to do it with the tri-shot, but that early advance in that last hit to head, he switched to the aggressive, caught Dante off guard. He kind of felt that he was close enough, and again to be too good!
Oh my.
Dallas intends to leave the day's festivities just as they arrived, undefeated, while Houston is desperate to shift the tides.
With it'll be a map change, it'll also be a player change.
Though not typically in the lineup for Houston's 6v6 matches, Spree has the unique opportunity today to lift his teammates if he is able to defeat Note.
Spree will step forward, miss the first hook. Note takes his opportunity, gets Spree over the pit, and a good night, Sally. Spree knows exactly what went wrong there. And Spree waits out the hook though. Both Roadhogs reset. Now Spree has a window. Note's hook isn't going to be available for a couple of seconds now, and he does abuse the timing down the pit. He
The third matchup of the day will be the critical go-ahead map, as the teams are knotted at 1 apiece.
Widowmaker 1v1, often considered the most quintessential of 1v1 battles. Up on that right-hand side, grappling hook. Linkser was already in position and meets him with a headshot. This is match point here for Linkser. Okay, shows his head, finds the headshot. And he can hear Linkser. Of course, Widow makes a fair bit of noise in those clopping high heels. Oh my! That is filthy! Dallas Fuel take another.
Looking for redemption after squandering an early lead in his Week 1 matchup, Crimzo plans to put Raucous and the Outlaws out of their misery. This time, without any taunting banter.
Crimzo versus Raucous playing Ana. So it's a slow start to the round. Don't forget Sleep Dart is huge. Crimzo's here with a body grenade already now. Does Raucous get aggressive? He waits out a Sleep Dart, chases Crimzo down, but this time he's here with a body grenade and Crimzo was ready. Well, 1 second. So they're both available. Raucous heals himself immediately. And
oh, that's a miss from Crimzo.
Yeah, he was hoping to get Raucous with that one through, but he turns it around. He missed the body grenade, but he hit the Sleep Dart. What a clutch play. He couldn't cross the gap quickly enough. Capitalize, another hit, body grenade down, Raucous on the road. Oh, no. 2 in a row, a salute, and he sends him packing.
With Dallas having earned the first 3 map selections for the eventual 6-on-6, this is Houston's 4th and final shot at earning their first advantage in the battle for Texas.
3v3 will be working as that each round will be a best of 5. So these players are in now. We have Crimzo, Trill, and Zachary for the Dallas Fuel, Meko, Blase, and Rappel. Now, after each best of 5, the teams will be able to switch their rosters and go again. He is in danger, though. He's going to be forced to deal with Zachary 1v1 in a moment, but the main fight is happening here between the 2 Orisas. We see, of course, having Blase there on the Bastion should help out, but Crimzo was able to work Meko down. Trill chases Blase, and it's an easy pick off for Zachary.
Faced with a potential sweep, Houston is ready to shake things up.
Now the 2v2, both teams struggling. Jexer down, but the healing is there. Can Hydration make the most of it? It looks like he can. Goes to his lows, uses adaptive shield to get a little bit of protection, and yeah, straight on in. And it's split. This time it's the Outlaws to come out with a 3-0, shutting the Fuel down.
Though it would have been easy to do so after losing the first 3 series, the Outlaws want to prove to the Fuel that they are not a roster that will easily roll over and die.
Turns out Death comes on 4 legs, and Hydration is looking to work notes down easy as you like. It's at full health, Jake. This could go either way.
Hydration kind of baiting his team here, but he's got the HP lead to work with, and if he can just take down Zachary, big HP lead on Trill, he should have an advantage here in the 1v1. Oh, it's very close actually. Both hands on almost the same HP.
A lot of damage, under 100 for each, and Trill wins the long-range battle. The Dallas Fuel secure it.
With the series tied at 2, this is the rubber match. Will Dallas complete the clean sweep of skills challenges? Or will Houston get the last laugh going into the 6v6 final?
Hydration wants to wait for his next shield. There's no way he's going to peek with the other shield here. But Zachary could easily 2-tap him.
30 HP. That's clever. Zachary, 24 health. Point is open, but neither player is ready to push it. Okay, one more shot would have done it. Zachary lets it go, and Hydration had 7 health. It doesn't get much closer than that.
With a successful 3v3 campaign, the Outlaws finally earned their first series victory. In dropping this 4th series to Houston, the Dallas Fuel headed to next week's battle with 3 advantages over the Outlaws' 1. The Houston Outlaws wish to thank their 2020 team sponsors for anteing up. Thank you HEB, GameStop, Samsung, Zaxby's, and Zenny Gaming. The Dallas Fuel wish to thank their 2020 team sponsors, Jack in the Box, Favor, Corsair, Frontier Communications, Greyhound, Predator, and Jackalings.
Being a Houston Outlaw requires Raucous to practice for 8 to 10 hours per day. And nothing is better than HEB's delicious meal simples. He eats them every day, and when he runs low, he just goes to his My HEB app, places his order, and heads to HEB. He texts HEB when he arrives, grabs his HEB order, and heads home.
Hey, I got food. I'm back, guys.
HEB Curbside, making it easy for Raucous to be a Houston Outlaw.
So today we finished our second set of 1v1s and 3v3s. Dallas actually came out on top in the 1v1s. So that was a little bit disappointing. I think part of that's on me because our players were kind of tired, not in great condition. So I think we weren't able to kind of put our best foot forward. Dallas kind of took those pretty decisively, and Spree was our only victory in that. But in the 3v3s, we kind of caught our second win. Some of our players were really motivated to kind of prove that we should be like beating Dallas in these challenges. So that was really cool to see. I'm glad my players were motivated, and we saw, you know, Hydration, Dante, and Jexy pulling out a lot of like very innovative strategies, I think, in the 3v3s. And then to close out the series, we played Blase, Raucous, and Hydration together. They're all roommates, so they have a lot of good synergy, and they really wanted to play with each other. They were really motivated, and they took that match really decisively. So coming into the match, it'll be really motivating to be able to win on Dallas's map picks and make them feel even worse about the loss. So I'm really excited for that personally. We'll definitely feel a lot better being able to put our best foot forward in the 66. So Dallas, we're coming for you.
We went 3-1. Not bad. We get 3 map picks going into this show match, so good work today. It went pretty well. We just got done with our 1v1 and 3v3 challenges, the second set. So we took the 1v1s. We ended up losing at the last second in the 3v3. It was pretty close. You know, we wanted to give him a chance. You know, we took a little fun in the you know, that last set. You know, you're looking at Crimzo.
Why you body blocked me? What a dweeb!
So in the 3v3, me and my teammates, we played pretty well. I think we destroyed them, absolutely. Like, I think I'm gonna take all the credit for it. I think I played the best out of everyone on my team. I kind of carried them, so it is what it is. But yeah, we destroyed them.
What it means is we actually get 3 of the 4 first map picks. They get to have the 4th one, but that's fine. We'll give them 1. We don't want to completely stomp them, you know. Feeling pretty good. We're pretty excited, and honestly, we're ready to go, so can't wait for it.
The Outlaws managed to come out on top, but when you mix it all into the greater scheme of things, being sort of hectic and crazy and unpredictable, there are some strengths there, but if you're not careful, you can also lose your team. And when it comes to the 6v6, that gives Dallas Fuel the opportunity to capitalize on some big mistakes. So the Houston Outlaws have to make sure that they can rein it in a little bit and keep control over their compositions.
With 4 series in the books, only one battle remains in this inaugural event between the Dallas Fuel and the Houston Outlaws. Having been defeated by the Fuel in 3 of the 4 contests, the Outlaws are certainly fortunate that the upcoming 6-on-6 grand final will be for all the marbles.
Some blood has been shed, but these two teams are now going to take their beef out to the battlefield when it comes to the Battle of Texas next week, Jake. That is going to be another exciting one, and we have no idea what to expect, seeing both of these teams play each other so close only so recently.
Both teams desperately want the spoils that will accompany a victory next week. A trophy, a title, and potentially above all else, bragging rights. Yet only one squad will prevail victorious. Will Dallas be able to capitalize on the 3 advantages they earned thus far? Or will Houston benefit from the momentum they generated with their recent victory? Which Overwatch team truly rules Texas? Next week, the score will be settled. A champion will be crowned in the finale of the 2020 Lone Star Challenge. Thank you for tuning in to the 2020 Lone Star Challenge presented by Samsung. If you want to keep up with the action, make sure you head to your favorite team's YouTube channel, youtube.com/outlaws or youtube.com/Dallas Fuel on Monday, May 11th at 12 p.m. Central, where the 2 teams will be competing in a second set of challenges before they head into the May 18th Grand Final. But the action doesn't stop there. We'll be back on this station next Saturday to follow the players on their quest. Both teams would like to extend a big shout out to those that helped make this show possible, from Samsung, HEB, Favor, Jacklinks, and Zenny Gaming, to our teams and production partners at Banner TV, Heat Index, Esports Engine, and Snip Studios.
120 Hz refresh rate, quad-core processor, 16 gigs of RAM, lag-free 5G, and a battery that won't quit, just like you. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G, the ultimate gaming trophy.
This is the shot. They've got one shot at this right now. What am I watching? Get out! Come on! Somebody stop this guy! Can anybody stop them? The answer is no! I need you to get up. Get up. What is this? Oh my, what? I'm telling you, baby! Now we have a game!
Over the last 2 weeks, we have put the Houston Outlaws and the Dallas Fuel through their paces over a variety of challenges, and now in week 3 here of the Lone Star Showdown, it is time to decide which of those will be crowned the King of Texas. I am Mitch Leslie, joined by Jake Lyon, of course, Houston Outlaws alumni. And Jake, it's great now to have a chance to put these two teams through their paces in a best of 5.
I couldn't agree more. I think having the opportunity to play in the 6-on-6 environment is something that these teams have really been waiting for. The 1v1 and the 3v3 challenges are a nice way to shake it up and see the teams in a different light. But definitely a whole other show getting
now. This is the Lone Star Showdown, and not just one matchup, but many. Let's have a look at the format, I guess, of this challenge, and we can sort of see how we got here. We had 2 major phases. So the first phase has been occurring over the last couple of weeks, and that's a series of small team challenges in 1v1s and 3v3. That was deciding our map picks when it comes to phase 2. This is the Battle for Texas, a standard 6v6 best of 5 under competitive rules. And Jake, one of our teams did a lot better in our small team challenges to choose maps.
Yeah, definitely. Dallas Fuel coming up with 3 map picks to the Houston Outlaws 1, and getting 3 in a row at that. So maybe even feeling a bit overconfident in the final challenge.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance to see it, I recommend checking it out over on YouTube. It was a series of fantastic 1v1s and 3v3s, and we really got to see a lot of that individual skills shine through with many of these players across both rosters. It was the Outlaws that struggled really, though, to chalk any wins up until it came to what I believe was our final 3v3. So they will have a map pick, the Houston Outlaws. It'll be map 4 that they get to choose. The first 3 maps will all go to the Dallas Fuel, and there's the risk, I guess, there for the Outlaws in Jake that they may even lose the series by the time they get a chance to choose a map.
Well, it is actually a BO7, I believe. So we're gonna get to that 4th pick. But you're right that if the Dallas are up 3-0, then it's a pretty rough spot to be going into map 4. Right. But then again, it is just map picks. It's possible that Houston can still win it, even on an unfavorable map pick. Dallas's comfort zone. It's still doable for Houston, especially with, I would say, the momentum for these teams. Right, like you've got the Outlaws, against very different opponents, but the Outlaws dominated their last series against the Titans, whereas the Fuel looked kind of lost playing the Paris Eternal. I mean, strength of opponent there, you can't be overstated, is very, very different, right? Paris looked resurgent, and Vancouver Titans, obviously with their new roster, have struggled to find footing. So, you got to take that with a grain of salt, but I would say just from a pure emotional perspective, the momentum that these players are feeling, I'd rather be the Outlaws than the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like Dallas last time we saw them in the league struggled a little bit with our current hero pool. So the actual heroes that were available for selection may not have gelled well with them, or the strategies that came with those. So there'll be a chance here at least to release those shackles and have all of our heroes available for selection. That means that heroes like Moira, May, and Orisa will be available, as well as Tracer, again, something that we've definitely seen benefit the Dallas Fuel in the past, especially with a player like Decay on their roster. So yeah, you're dead right. If it is in fact a best of 7, then everyone's got to get a map pick before we have a final winner selected. But either way, this will be, I guess, a great way to cap off our series of exercises in which we've assessed which of these teams ought to be the Kings of Texas.
Yeah, and if anything, Dallas are the ones who staked that claim more successfully so far. So it's up to the Outlaws to really turn things around here. I think that's always been a bit of an underdog team, but now that's true not only from a emotional perspective, but also a realist perspective, where they are behind in map picks. Dallas, they are going to put their best 3 maps forward here, and if they can get off to a strong lead in the series, it's tough to come back from that, even as a team that might consider themselves underdogs.
All right, well, here it is. The Houston Outlaws features Blase, Boink, Dante, Hydration, Jexa, Linksa, Meko, Muma, Rappel, Raucous, and Spree. And again, we'll only have 6 of those players in at any one time, though you could expect substitutions in between maps. Right now, it appears that Rappel, Jexa, Hydration, Dante, Linksa, and Meko will be in the starting lineup. And that's exciting. We've seen Hydration actually gravitate more towards the tank role. Jake, we saw him play Winston most recently for the Outlaws.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw him come in, frankly, what I was calling on that cast was that, Hydration, he's probably there to play mostly maybe Sigma, Hammond, these sort of tank heroes that are a little bit closer to the natural pacing of a DPS role. But Hydration completely proved me wrong, having a strong performance not only on Winston, but also a little bit of Reinhardt showing in there. So team really responding well to that, playing very effectively around them. But they've yet to go up against an opponent as tough as the Dallas Fuel.
Let's have a look now a little bit closer at this Dallas Fuel lineup. We have players from multiple eras across Overwatch esports. AKM, Closer, Crimzo, Decay, Doha, Gamsu, Harry Hook, Note, Trill, Unco, and Zachary to round them out. Today, at least in map number 1, they'll be featuring Doha and Decay on DPS, Gamsu and Note on tank, and Crimzo and Closer as their supports. So a fairly optimized sort of lineup here for the Fuel in terms of what they've been putting forward in towards the Overwatch League. So it's a clear indicator that, they're serious about turning up with their very best look here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, these are the exact rosters that we've seen them pull out for Overwatch League matches. So, it makes sense, right? They both want to be crowned the Kings of Texas, both want to be running their home state. And I think this showdown is a great opportunity to highlight that, outside of the larger context like the Overwatch League. This is where these two teams can really go head-to-head in a true and long-term sense.
And last time these two teams did go head-to-head, it wasn't that long ago in the Overwatch League. I think you alluded to that earlier on in the show. And that was a best-of-5 series, whereas this is a best-of-7, as I've now realized. So that one was very close. It went all the way. We will have to see whether the choice of map pick really affects these teams too much, but I do want to set expectations for viewers that for these two teams, having one team having to seed multiple map picks early in the series is unlikely to have a huge impact over the result here, as both of these teams will have practiced on all of these maps. The amount of hours that both Houston and Dallas would have put into scrims and practice is immense. So anyone coming in sort of thinking that Dallas Fuel have this incredible inherent advantage may be surprised to find that the Outlaws are very well versed on many of these maps, including Ilios, which will be our first.
Yeah, I think, anyone in the Overwatch League, right? Like, there's not an Overwatch map they haven't played. Any Overwatch League team, there's not a map that they don't have experience and practice on. So the map picks are really just more making your own practice just a little bit easier, a little bit more fluid. You can focus in on the maps that you've prepared for. But the flip side of that is that if we get very late in the series and Houston are still alive, still competing, that means Dallas, if they had overly focused their practice, thinking their map picks would really put them in control, by the time we get to the end of the series, that won't be the case anymore. So I think if the Outlaws can just outlast, right, even just taking maybe one of Dallas's map picks, they're putting themselves in a great position to succeed going late into the series.
Now, if you are in Dallas or Houston and you're able to check this stuff out on TV, make sure you tune in to WFAA 8 in Dallas and KHOU 11 in Houston at noon on Saturday for the final episode of the docuseries on the Lone Star Challenge, which is, of course, a series that has been running alongside these matches, and it's been a fantastic way for viewers to get a little bit of background information and also get a feel for how the teams are going as they go through this challenge. So you see, if you spot your locale there, tune in. It's noon on Saturday. We're going to be heading into game, Jake, in just a moment.
Yeah, and the player I have my eyes on most closely for this match, I would say, is Hydration. Obviously Houston's last match was incredibly dominant with Hydration on the main tank role, but they were playing against a weaker team, Vancouver Titans, who with their new roster have struggled to find success against anybody. So Hydration, I think that was not really too tough of a test for him. So now going up against a much stronger team in the Dallas Fuel, this is where the really pressure will be on for him, especially if he goes up against Gamsu in some of those Ryan 1v1s. That's a place where their practice and experience on main tank should make a huge difference. Hydration has been a very adaptable player in the past, though, so we'll see if that continues and his team can enable him to succeed in that sense.
Yeah, it's interesting. Ordinarily, of course, in the past, Muma was fielded in that main tank position, and Hydration has much more history as a DPS player. He'll be going up against, you put it correctly, an absolute veteran in Gamsu, who's played multiple esports titles at the top level across multiple regions. But here we go, we're into Ilios. In the red, it is going to be the Houston Outlaws. In the blue, the Dallas Fuel, and it will be a Reinhardt Sigma with a Torbjorn here for Houston, Jake.
Yeah, I like the comp a lot for Houston. They've got a lot of anti-dive tools. Lynx are on this Widow, though. He's going to have to find some picks, and so far the Fuel have eluded him. Ooh, very close to a headshot there, but not able to find it. And now the flanks are really applying a lot of pressure from the Dallas Fuel. Tanks dropping very low, and this has got to be the mid-fight going the way of the Fuel Outlaws, getting cornered and dove.
Yeah, at least, I mean, we were on board with him at the start of the fight, but a lot of the action was happening at the point. Hydration very aggressively pushes forward on this Reinhardt. So far forward, in fact, that Crimzo was able to get a sleep dart on him and actually enable the rest of the team to collapse around him and punish. So a bit of a composition switch here now, Jake. Dante switching to the Tracer.
Yeah, I think this comp is actually going to make it a lot easier for the Outlaws to survive the dive. First off, you have Meko on the Diva, who's going to be able to eat a lot of that damage from Decay and Doha. But at the same time, Repel and Jexa is switching to much more survivable supports against this backline dive. So the Fuel's composition may be unexpected for the Outlaws and gets them the mid-fight win.
Decay and Doha now keeping themselves scarce. A little bit hard to get close to the composition of the Outlaws, but now as the Outlaws move inside this small room, there could be trouble. Hydration tries to get a charge on Gamsu, but it goes wide, and Gamsu receives the nano boost. Meanwhile, Doha beaming down the rest of the Outlaws, and that focusing beam really helping him claim those large health targets. And it's already 51% to 0.
Yeah, this is pretty much exactly the way you want this to go if you are the Dallas Fuel, because only investing Nano Boost to hold point, you're going to have access to all 5 of your other ults. Jexa wasn't really able to build up much rally, which is the key ult you're looking for to sort of challenge this dive comp for control. So Linkster is going to have his work cut out for him. It's going to be very difficult to survive the dive as it's all the way into the spawn right now. Ooh, Dallas Fuel are so aggressive, and it's paying off big time. Decay picks up 3. But it's kind of punished here. Is this over-aggressive from the Fuel?
It may have been, but Doha gets a duplicate on Meko. Jake and is able to use the Deadeye, not only preventing the Outlaws from properly getting to retaliate in that fight, but giving the rest of his team time to get back to the point after losing a few players. Now Gamsu and Closer are on their way back. Dallas will be at full strength. What will be the last fight?
Yeah, what I will say, though, is that the strongest point for this dive comp is holding the spawn of the attackers. So Outlaws kind of skipped past the toughest test. Beat does come in, though. Fuel trying to make this dive work.
Finding grenade thrown out there. Hydration looks for a shatter. Catches Gamsu. Charge is good, but Gamsu still gets a primal rage. And the Outlaws never got to touch the point. Too focused, I guess, on trying to deal with the threat in front of him with the Fuel. And that Tracer from Decay is causing them a lot of problems.
Yeah, Decay's Tracer known to be monstrous, and I think it just really paid off for the Dallas Fuel. They won the mid off the back of that dive comp, and Outlaws just never able to retake, constantly stymied by the positioning from the Fuel. So great play by, I would say, Decay, Gamsu, and Doha, especially leading the charge on that dive, holding those high ground positions. So, you know, as the Outlaws come in to retake point, they just put themselves into a surround, and they don't have the tools really to clear the high ground against a team that is just so much more mobile than them. So it looks like we're going to see the Outlaws mirror this dive comp with some different selections. So should be a little bit tough, I think, for Linkster to survive. It's going to be a ton of pressure on him, but if he can make it past the first few seconds of the fight, him and Repel are going to deal a ton of DPS. So it's going to be up to the Dallas Fuel to be the aggressors.
And in the early, rounds of this Lone Star Challenge, it was the Dallas Fuel to come out on top, but we didn't really know if, those victories in 1v1s and 3v3s would manifest here in the 6v6, but Dallas just want to dive. All they want to do is get up close to Houston, and the Outlaws do not like to have to play against this style. They can't get into position before they're set upon by the Fuel, even though, of course, Houston switched towards a Winston-based composition. They were not ready for that dive.
Yeah, I feel like Linkster on this Ashe, it's not like he's playing poorly, but he just has no chance to get value. He's getting instantly stuffed in the corner, and this is probably why the Fuel chose Ilios. They seem really, really confident on this extremely aggressive dive composition with Echo and Tracer leading the charge. Linkster, he's just not really getting opportunities to deal damage. Constantly flanked. This time he scouts Decay, though. That's a huge catch, because if Decay is able to set up on the flank like that without using any blinks, it's going to be easy pickings for him to clean up the backline.
Decay now has to return a little bit closer to the rest of his team, but will spend much of his time looking for flanking opportunities here, providing it's not at the cost of his own safety. Hydration dives in here, quite aggressive, and there's Dante on the flank who's able to work Crimzo down really fast, but it's a trade. Hydration falls, Decay's pulse bomb gets shut down by the defense matrix, and the Outlaws move to the point here. They're set up around Jexa, and the Fuel, lacking a player, still aren't lacking confidence. They approach the point now, and it is going to be Gamsu dropping in first. He's stunned immediately, and Noble will also be taken down. So by the time Dallas actually converge on the point here, they're not coordinated.
Yeah, I think what's proving to be crucial is that early pickoff onto Crimzo. He's just now getting back into the fight, and it's just too little too late. You know, losing that Ana in a dive comp, it can't be overstated how impactful that is, because usually the point of the dive comp is to create a ton of space for Ana to just do work, put out a massive amount of heals, and sort of make up for the rest of what her team lacks in terms of damage and control. She gets a ton of value in this comp. But when she goes down first like that, even though Hydration pays his life, I think it's well worth it.
Hydration has Primal Rage at the ready. He'll be staying on that high ground above the lighthouse, and he'll drop down by the time the Fuel challenged it. Unsurprisingly, Decay's already made his way towards the point, starting to contest, but Hydration heads for the back line. Dante gets rid of Crimzo. The sticky bombs find their mark, and with Ana out of the picture now, the lion's share of the healing is missing for Dallas. And the Outlaws can continue now to snowball this fight further in their favor. Self-destruct is thrown in towards that low room, but Dante is charged up. He's looking for targets. Focusing beam doesn't quite find what he was looking for, but Linksa helped him out. Note is removed, and now the Outlaws look to equalize here on capture percentage. They're at 49.
Yeah, and that's great use of the nano there. Once again, holding point with just the nano boost is a major swing. Doha commit the copy as well, so that's just a... Oh, I mean, I guess Ellis do commit rally, actually. So that fight is less good than I initially thought. But Doha dies in the backline, and that's a crucial pickoff. Hydration's going to be able to hold point very easily here, I think. Does have Primal Rage if he gets dropped low, so it's going to be tough. Beat does come in, and Meko moved off the map. I know, that's so significant here.
Huge amount of health that's gone over the edge now, and the sound barrier does at least help most of the Fuel to get in position on the point. Crimzo is hit by the dynamite though, and Linksa was able to find a kill on a target he didn't even see. Note and Gumsu now fighting on the point. Primal Rage for Gumsu allowed him to find one kill, but Dante will be able to return to the point. 3 players up for Dallas, but they forced so many of the Outlaws away. They retain control for now. It's 65 to 79.
Linksa coming up on that Bob. That could be crucial to get that point contest going, as no tank ults for the side of Houston. Only the nano boost and Bob coming online soon, but the Outlaws are going to need to finish those all off very quick, because Houston or Dallas, if they win one more fight, this is all over.
79 and counting. Plenty of ultimates for the Dallas Fuel. They got that nano boost for Gumsu. That's going to make him far more scary as he dives into the backline. Great body grenade though by Rappel. No healing available for Note or Gumsu, and it has to be a defensive self-destruct just to give Gumsu and Note a little bit of space. But in all the chaos, Doha was able to make his way into the backline, and now he'll be a problem later in the fight. Once more, Gumsu dives on in to the high ground, and Doha now can just swoop back onto the point and do some clean up. It's just the Winston left. The Outlaws managed to get themselves in a commanding position early, but it's not enough, and Ilios goes for the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, Dallas showing why they chose that map, just forcing that all-in dive comp very quickly from the start. And, you know, Linksa on his core hit scan role, that's what he's used to playing. That's where he's the strongest, but it just wasn't enough. I feel like it was less of him playing poorly and more just the composition countering him. He just never had the space to really put out damage the way an Ashe wants to play. And, you know, in that last fight with Crimzo's sleep dart, it was kind of just the beginning of the end there. No chance to recover.
It looks like the Outlaws a little bit slow on the uptake when it came to this Winston Tracer Echo composition sort of being stronger, Jake. They tried to come out of the gates with a Reinhardt on Ruins, and I mean, ostensibly, you know, a composition that should kind of be strong at brawling the point, but they spend so much time in their own spawn. They never got to leverage the value of having, you know, that more durable threat of Reinhardt in the mix.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, if anything, was pretty significant there that the support comp for the Outlaws was that Lucio Batiste, which is a very greedy comp that's pretty much optimized for the mirror. So expecting Fuel to also bring out a Reinhardt, then you'd have the speed boost and you'd have a lot of shield pressure from Batiste. But playing against a dive comp, the Lucio and the BAP are very difficult to keep alive. So you saw them quickly switch over to the Ana Brig, but at that point, they already lost their best opportunity, which was to win the mid fight, take control of the map. You know, on control, that ends up being critically important. And, you know, for the Dallas Fuel, 2 mid wins, 2 round wins, and that's a quick Ilios.
And of course, while we have an opportunity, before we head to a break, I do want to give a big shout out to Samsung. Thank you, Samsung, for helping us actually make this Lone Star Challenge possible as our title sponsor. And yeah, fantastic to have your support and a great chance here to showcase some of the best talent coming out of Texas. Texas is blessed to have 2 Overwatch League teams, and so we're blessed to get to put them through the paces in an exhibition style like this. And today we are still looking to see who we will crown as the Kings of Texas. So far, the Dallas Fuel managed to get themselves the first map in this series. Map 2 will be right around the corner, of course. It'll be Kings Row, and a chance here for the Outlaws to take a breath and see if they can bring their full force back. But we'll see you after a short break for map number 2. Lone Star Challenge, presented by Samsung. Always gaming, always Texas. Stay connected and stay gaming with the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G. Shop online or through the HEB app to purchase your groceries today. Here, everything's better. If you're a Dallas Fuel or Houston Outlaws fan and wish to support your team, there's still time to order this season's jersey or merchandise. Be sure to check out the Staples store over at the Overwatch League website and represent the Fuel or the Outlaws.
Being a Houston Outlaw requires Raucous to practice for 8 to 10 hours per day. And nothing is better than HEB's delicious meal simples. He eats them every day, and when he runs low, he just goes to his My HEB app, places his order, and heads to HEB. He texts HEB when he arrives, grabs his HEB order, and heads home.
Hey, I got food. I'm back, guys.
HEB Curbside, making it easy for Raucous to be a Houston Outlaw.
In life, you either eat the protein of Jack Link steaks made with 100% beef, and you run with Sasquatch, or you run from Sasquatch.
120 hertz refresh rate, quad-core processor, 16 gigs of RAM, lag-free 5G, and a battery that won't quit, just like you. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G, the ultimate gaming trophy.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lone Star Challenge presented by Samsung. Map number 1 already over. Dallas Fuel chose Ilios. Dallas Fuel won the map, Jake. They look very confident playing this dive composition with Echo and Tracer. Do you think this composition might be the standard for no hero pool play right now?
It's very possible. What I will say, though, for the Outlaws is that it feels like they weren't really expecting it both times, rolling out to mid with some relatively greedy comps that are more about valuing the shield trade and the Rhine mirror.
but both times just completely crushed by dive, and then switching over to some better answers. It's just not enough though. I feel that if they came to mid with like that Brig, Ana, you know, those heavy anti-dive heroes, maybe a McCree or even a Sombra for Linkser, that could have worked out a bit better for them, maybe even a Mei, something like that. But instead they went for these greedy comps and got punished both times. So I think that was, if anything, just not expecting what the Dallas Fuel were bringing to bear. So, you know, part of it is going back to no hero pools, just as with hero pools, right? It's like no one's practiced without hero pools. So there's still that X factor of even when you don't ban anything, teams don't exactly know, you know, what's the best because they haven't had weeks and weeks and weeks of practice with the same setup.
All right, well, we'll see if the Outlaws manage to come up with something a little bit closer to home for them here, or at least a composition that may suit them a little bit better. Doha and Decay just reacquainting themselves with the map, because Kings Row has only recently returned to the map pool in the Overwatch League. But we're out of the gates. It will be the Houston Outlaws, of course, in the green, coming straight on out here. And they're going to have a Hanzo with the Echo combination. They do have the Lucio Batiste combo here, Jake.
I would fully expect to see some swaps coming in, like perhaps bringing an Orisa out, maybe as Zenyatta. Oh, it's actually going to be an opposite switch. They're going to go into like a heavy dive strategy here on Kings Row, likely to try to punish the Orisa Sigma rather than match it. So we'll see. Hydration, he's got his work cut out for him, but opportunity for big cleave with the stack up that's going to be here from the Dallas Fuel defensive side.
Hydration hoping just to catch as many targets as he can. When he jumps on in, just like about now, but he's hit with an accretion, immediately forced on back, and Meko is just scurrying to try and keep him protected with that defense matrix. Someone put an NYXL spray on the ground, don't know who that was, but Gamsu now pushing forward, tries to use the hold, but taking a lot of damage. Hydration has to use his personal bubble, and Doha gets a little bit cavalier. He goes down to Lynx's Dynamite, but it's a trade. Hydration is down for the Outlaws, crucially, but Dante stands up, removes Crimzo with those sticky bombs.
Dante is punishing them so hard right now. He's out and just doing so much damage with the pocket from Jexa. I think Dallas Fuel thought they could punish the tanks, but instead they're the ones paying with their lives. Dante, though, maybe be overextending right now. Yes, he is. Gets caught by the bash from Closer, so good awareness by the Brigida, keeping this alive, but spawn advantage for the attack. It's going to be difficult to recontest this.
The Dallas Fuel gonna have trouble getting their note. Is low, discorded and taken down, and Gums, who spent so long trying to get healed up, he does get to the point though. Linkser is removed, the sticky bomb's fine, but Jexa brings it back into the fight, so Doha gets rid of Jexa instead. Meko is desuited now. Amplification matrix thrown up at the back of the point, and the Dallas Fuel have numbers. It's all been Linkser so far. He finds 2 quick kills. Decay finally shuts him down, and then is removed by the Discord or play. And Dante and Co are trying to circle the point. Transcendence should help with hydration as he tries to capture this one out, but the Fuel are going to have another crack at it here. Note's going to try and move up on the Sigma. Hydration has the primal rage though, and he lets it go just to keep the point clear. It'll be a duplicated Winston for Doha, trying to challenge this as much as possible. Hydration with the flailing fists of fury eventually goes down, and somehow Dallas get themselves back in the driver's seat.
Dallas doing great work there. Note had to give his life just to make that contest come in, and Hydration tried to go all in, tried to just push the enemies off point because they were at 98% control. So if Dallas had slipped for even a moment there, they would have given up first point. But now setting up in position for a full hold, Outlaws committed everything to that, and it did not work out at all. Gamsu's supercharger, it's going to be so difficult to answer this with no ultimates to counter. If they lose a pick here, we're looking at a very dangerous final fight scenario for Houston.
Ult thrown out. Dante and Lynx are now called upon to do the lion's share of the damage. Meko's down to half. Doha tickles him there with a focusing beam, but needs to be careful. Still needs to respect Lynx, but it's actually Dante that finds him with the sticky bombs. Decay wants to try and play safe now. Gonna sit on back as Decay gets some shots into Meko. Remember, only one more tick required. Decay finds the head of Dante though. And the Outlaws don't even need presence on the point now. They finally return with their main tanks. Dante's brought back into the fight, and the Outlaws have a big opportunity here. Shield thrown down on the point, and it looks like the Dallas Fuel won't have the numbers to defend.
There's a really beautiful bubble there by Hydration on the Winston. Isolates Note, so even though Closer and Crimzo are still alive, they can't give any heals to their Sigma, who's supposed to be contesting points. So that's a nice isolation by Hydration's Winston, and now he's charging in for more. These staggers going to be pretty painful. That's exactly what the Outlaws need in order to get themselves back into the fight. Gamsu in the corner, but he's all alone here. I can't imagine him lasting too long against the heavy pressure. Yeah, Dante's focusing being easy cleanup, so Fuel, they might be in a 1-fight position already on second point. It's going to be quite close. Decay does have a Bob to start the fight, but Dante has copy as well, so this won't be easy for the Dallas Fuel. Momentum now firmly in the hands of the Houston Outlaws.
They do at least, Jake, the Outlaws have made up a lot of the time that they lost on point A here. So they get a quick fight, they get into the Foundry, and, you know, they're looking good. You know, they got a decent time bank to work their last phase of the map with, which means this next fight is so much more important. Oh no, got caught out on the left-hand side, and Dante is so lethal to tanks if they're below half health. Focusing Beam just churns them down so quickly. Doha's looking for a tank to do the same to himself, but none of them have really presented themselves as opportunities. Bob was used, bought a bit of time for decay, but Jake, the Dallas Fuel need to do more here.
That's a beautiful primal by Hydration. Isolates Decay and gets the easy pick off. Gamsu tried to help, but just wasn't possible. Dante now copying an Ana. Gonna pick up a quick nano boost. Maybe throw it over to Hydration, and he does. This is a very unique echo copy, but it's working out for Dante right now.
Oh, Hydration trying to go for Closer, has slept at just the last moment, giving Closer enough time to heal up, but the Dallas Fuel Jake are barely staying in the game, let alone trying to contest the point, and 3 minutes on the clock for Houston as they make it into the Foundry.
Yeah, it's a beautiful push and a little bit rare copy. You rarely see the supports chosen by an Echo. Maybe Dante in trouble there, but you know, he makes it work. He gets the nano on Hydration and ends up paying off. Even though Closer hits the sleep, they can't actually finish off the Winston, or rather the copied Winston, because of that nano boost. So it works out well for the Outlaws, and still keeping great control of the ultimate economy. This is a very effective recovery by Houston.
And they're still pushing, Jake. They realize that they have the momentum. The Outlaws now making it very hard for Dallas to even get outside of their spawn. A trade of focusing beams there between Dante and Doha, but Dante is brought back into the fight. Repel goes for a Transcendence there when the Fuel hadn't really engaged. It'll keep the Outlaws healthy as they push up, but without that ultimate, it may not matter. They may not even need the healing with the amount of damage they're putting out right now. Self-destruct from Meko. Perfect placement. Catches Decay. Punishes him sitting back in the corner. And now it's just Note sitting on the card. They're so close to finishing the Outlaws, and with a very healthy time bank too.
Ooh, what a Bionade on Dante. He's at 2 HP, but he manages to get the copy and turn into Wrecking Ball. What a save. And the Outlaws, who would have thought this? They're coming back with a huge time bank now after a brutal defense by the Dallas Fuel on point A. That's an incredible comeback in this round. I mean, once they captured point A, every single fight went the way of the Outlaws. So the dive comp not being a bit of a struggle on point A, but once they got momentum, the Outlaws did a great job controlling their ultimate usage, never overexpending, and they were just always in control. Dallas, they never got their heels in.
Jake. If you get bionated and you're Echo, and then you duplicate another hero, do you maintain the effects of the biotic grenade, or does it cleanse it?
No, it is actually a cleanse, so it's going to purge any status effect on you, but of course if you're stunned, you won't even be able to copy. But yes, it is actually a full cleanse, so you sort of become a new hero, and there's no status effect that will remain on you, such as like a slow from May or anything like that. Generally, the biotic grenade is probably like the one meaningful instance of that, so that's pretty much the only way to learn about the cleanse, but it's similar to like getting Zarya bubbled or something, where you're no longer going to have those negative
stats. That's just how powerful Duplicate is. Not only are you effectively being healed in most cases, you're also getting a buffer of life, because even if you are reduced to 0 HP whilst duplicating another hero, you'll just go back to your normal form, and you shrug off status effects with the exception of stuns and sleep. So very powerful, and Dante used it awfully effective there. I do love the idea as well of Dante giving his team an Ana when they already had a Zenyatta and a Brig. So that extra healing and the nano boost in that short window is crazy. They're able to overload their capacity for healing in that brief period of time. But here come the Fuel, Jake. They're on the attack with the Wrecking Ball.
And it's another dive strat for Fuel. Gamsu's Wrecking Ball, I think, was a bit of a mistake last round. Would have rather seen him on the Orisa on defense, but on offense, this makes a lot of sense. The question is, can they keep their Mercy alive? Dante already sneaking up on the flank, wants to sort of get his backline pick off.
Gamsu in position now to try and harass some of these tanks as they play around the high ground. Gamsu rolling on through. Actually may have spotted some backliners, but he's not really interested about them right now. It's about working Hydration down, and now Note has joined him. Obviously very close friends in real life. Gamsu and Note like to play close together in compositions like this. Dynamite gets dropped on Gamsu, but now it's going to be up to the Outlaws to challenge as the Fuel have moved on to the point, Jake.
Yeah, and the Outlaws' lack of healing in their compositional choice here is really punishing. You see so many players for the Outlaws are on low HP, and they just can't get restored. Hydration unable to really go aggressive because he's never able to get that final bit of armor on his HP bar. So the Mercy and the Ana working wonders here for the Fuel, able to just reset so much quicker after a damage trade. And now it's just quick cleanup for the Fuel. Outlaws gonna have to regroup on second point.
The Ashe not really working out for Linkser. I mean, it's just a difficult comp to be playing with the amount of aggression that Gamsu can bring to bear.
Red has no space to work with, you're right. Gamsu on the Wrecking Ball, you know, pushed right up to that part of the map that Linkser was playing in, occupying the tanks for Houston, which means that if Linkser tries to peek, he gets harassed. Doha has emerged as a real legitimate threat on this Echo right now, of course, after being known for his Pharah play. He's very familiar with being up in the air, and there's 4 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock for Dallas here, and some big ultimates to work with in the next fight. They're going to have 5, Jake.
Yeah, you know, Dante's getting a lot of value here, but I think it's just be difficult to deal with. See Gamsu diving in very early, forcing a ton of ultimates. It's Nano and Valve traded for Transcendence, so a little bit of positive trade here for the Outlaws, but they're giving up a lot of control to Reset.
Yeah, I mean, it's a positive trade, but they didn't have many ultimates to start with. They have to get it done with what they have left now, and it's going to be tough. Meko tried for a self-destruct to shut on down, but Gamsu's minefield claims Jexa. And the Dallas Fuel nary a break in stride after capturing point A, and they will continue to push on here. The Outlaws will be hard-pressed to even keep them out of the Foundry at this rate.
Yeah, I'm not sure going to get much of a recontest here. Meko just spawning right now. It's a long trip back point. No Lucio for the Outlaws. It looks like they are posturing to go for it, though. You have a Primal Rage from Hydrin, a copy from Dante, so potentially durability necessary to take this fight. Rally could be exactly what they need.
Self-destruct. Oh, Repel! He didn't think that. He thought the bomb was going to go around the corner. Instead, it actually ended up right behind him. It's a 1-for-1 trade, though. The Bob definitely helped out, and Dante was able to find the kill on Crimzo. Now note, as he tries to pressure Dante, also falls foul of the focusing beam. Now Dante can return to the fight where the Outlaws are starting to stake their claim good and proper. Closer, well, I guess his train hasn't arrived. He's not going to be escaping from hydration as he gets run down. The Fuel are going to have to disengage here.
Yeah, it's a great hold by the Outlaws. Hydration wisely manages to hang on to his Primal Rage there, and it does cost a lot of ults, but you need to make a hold of this position so far from the attacker spawn. This is an ideal moment for the Outlaws to start burning a little bit of time off the bank. It should be a lot easier here to stabilize.
Doha and Gamsu on their way in. Meko just going to play the high ground for the time being. Linkser gets picked off the back line. That's a huge opener, and Decay gets so much value. Finishes off Dante now, and the Outlaws are in... I mean, they are in so much trouble in this fight, losing both their DPS now, and it'll be a decently long walk back for the both of them, even with Dante's extra mobility. Now the Fuel just need to seal the deal, trying to get towards Jexa now. He's forced on back. Doha needs to try control, getting rid of hydration pretty comfortably now, and yes, the Outlaws running on fumes. Doha's going to be stunned up briefly, gets above the fight though, and removes Jexa somehow with that try shot. Closely goes down, and Linkser is able to find that pick, but that payload is going to be getting across the line, going to be getting home. If Dante can't do something about it, and with the focusing beam getting rid of him, that looks less and less likely. Well, the Outlaws fought for it, they fought hard, but they will be giving up this point, and now the Dallas Fuel are able to make their way through. It looks like... Yes, it looks like Closer was spawned a long way away. You got the back spawn here, so it's going to be a little while before he's able to rejoin. This, Jake, let's note, and Doha play pretty far forward while they get ready and rally the troops behind it. One last push.
Yeah, I think it's easy to be confident with a player like Decay, though. 2 huge opening picks and then taking the nano boost and getting yet more. So Decay's Tracer has so far proved unanswerable by the Houston Outlaws. Now they're going to dive forward, and finally Decay gets shut down. That's necessary, it feels, to win a fight against the Dallas Fuel.
Meko really took responsibility for getting rid of that one, and despite hydration falling here, not having no inner mech and being staggered currently on the high ground is going to make it very hard for Dallas to advance any further. They'll play around Gamsu for the time being, but he even is getting pressured out. Desperately Closer trying to keep him healed up on the Mercy, but Crimzo's going to get pile driven now with hydration getting towards the back. Dante getting the duplicated, potentially 2 minefields for 1 Wrecking Ball transformation. Every time I see a duplicate, it just seems unfair.
Yeah, this ultimate is one of the strongest in the game with one of the highest teamfight win rates to boast. So Dante also a great player to pull off that copy. I know he was grinding Wrecking Ball right when the hero came out, so sort of a perfect situation for him. And now Rally for the Outlaws. It's going to be tough for Fuel to answer this. I have to envision them just retreating in this situation. It's so difficult to answer Rally in the dive mirror. That ultimate, I think, is even stronger than the copy.
Now they're able to do so though, Jake. They disengage. There will be a bit of persistent armor left here on the Outlaws and into the back line. Yes, Hydration's going to try and interrupt things here. Drops a minefield, but Linkser falls again to the K. Here's a self-destruct over the top. No one caught by that one, but Crimzo knocked over the edge by Hydration. And now the Outlaws have to back up a little bit here. They're just trying to protect Repel and Jexa as far as we can see. But in the meantime, Hydration was wreaking havoc in the backline, and the cart's not moving at all for the Fuel. They're down to 1:40.
Yeah, Dante and Hydration partnered up to kill off those supports, and now Dante looking for the spawn kill on Crimzo. If he finds this, oh, and he got the perfect stick. So yes, it's another reset on the Ana. So Dante, huge annoyance in the backline. Even if he goes down here, he's certainly done his job. Even though things look good for the Fuel, losing your supports like that is always gonna kill your momentum on offense. And Dante's staying behind in the backline. Very difficult to chase this Echo down. She's so highly mobile. Maybe now Dante has overstepped his bounds, but Gamsu, I don't think you can take this 1v1
I can't believe he gets away with
Dante
that.
again.
That is absurd. In the meantime, Hydration was just able to keep the points stalled out such that the cart made very little progress. Looks like the Outlaws are squaring up to make this a competitive series now as we go under 1 minute available for the Fuel. Bob is deployed in a good spot too. It had to be slept by Crimzo to keep the backline free from harassment. There's a nice little pile driver there, and Gumster's able to return to the fray, but Jexa is down. Now we'll see Dante duplicate the Wrecking Ball, tries to get a minefield away, but they'll disappear as he comes out of duplication itself. And Hydration, though, he's the real deal. A bona fide Wrecking Ball now with a minefield to let go, and he throws it over the payload. Meko also has a self-destruct here, and the Dallas Fuel are going to have a real hard time even getting to the cart with all these mines covering it. That was a very high up deployment of those mines, so they're spread over a large distance. The mines are cleared, they're swept away, but there's only 14 seconds left for Dallas.
Yeah, and then the rally armor still on here for most of the Outlaws players, so their backline looking very tankly. And finally, Linkster has the space to stand and deliver. He's just sitting in the back, pumping out DPS on this Ashe, forces recall. Doha's going to take the copy, but copy is slept, so no value really for the Ashe. Linkster does wake him up, and copy canceled. So once again, this Ashe in the backline finally getting the value that he's been hoping for.
Yeah, punishing tough for Doha. He wasn't able to get a Bob from that duplication. Still, there's a minefield over the card. Houston, okay, they get there in time. Hydration rolls on in. Pile driver is hit with a Varnic grenade pretty much immediately, though. Close it down to Linkster. Meko and Hydration were without healing, but they still seem confident. And Jexa now gets himself the nano boost from Repel. That'll be the hold here for the Houston Outlaws. And they even up this Lone Star challenge at 1-all. And they have to be pleased with that one indeed. Gamsu gets the play of the game. Both he and Hydration were on the Wrecking Ball. And this was a minefield that he set up here as Dallas Fuel were trying to make their way forward. Catching out Jexa and then able to rejoin the fight. So a lot of dive focused play we're seeing so far. And I guess it makes it a little bit harder for these Ashe players quite often have to be thrown into the mix here and expect to be dove. That's why the inclusion of Brig makes such a big difference. Jexa and Close are both operating that quite effectively. All right, Jake, it looks like the Outlaws now got a bit more fight in them than we thought. And that was, of course, the Dallas Fuel map pick.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we talked about. You know, Houston, if they can just win one of these map picks, it makes a huge difference because now Dallas Fuel, like, this is the map they're quote unquote supposed to win. And it went pretty dominantly in favor of the Houston Outlaws. There was a moment where it looked like Fuel could have full held, but as soon as that fell, it was pretty much Outlaws from there on out. You know, Fuel, they had a great attack of their own, but near the end of second point, losing a few fights cost them a ton of time. And then on third point, sort of same story. They got some initial momentum and then kept losing their backline to that great dive coordination coming out from Hydration and Dante. So those two players in particular, I think, playing really well, finally giving Linkster the space he was hoping for on that Ashe, and it's really working out in their favor.
Well, let's have a look at our Jack Link's instant replay here. We've got a couple of moments from the match so far, and this one is Repel at the end of the attacking round here, while Houston is trying to barrel forward in a really safe position. I mean, he set up well, and look at Meko's just covering him, Jack.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff. I mean, that's what you need too in the backline. I think often in dive, these supports are the unsung heroes. It's hard to often see the impact they're putting out, but when you get on their POV, you can see it's just a game changer that allows your tanks and your DPS to be so much more aggressive, so much more fearless. And that's why you see DPS players, especially I think in the Overwatch League level, when they play aggressive, they play really aggressive, really fearless. And part of that is pretty much just having faith in your backline, faith in your supports, because if you go in like that and you don't get healed, you're probably just going to die for nothing. But the flip side is that big risk, big reward. When it does pay off, it pays off big time.
And of course, it's a tough life out there for flex supports right now, or people playing Zenyatta in general, because a lot of teams want to play Wrecking Ball, they want to play Winston, they want to play Tracer and Echo. A lot of these heroes are the antithesis to someone like Zenyatta, who lacks mobility and often needs protection, which is why you see Meko in that clip actually remaining quite close to Repel if he needs to double back, deploy defense matrix, protect him from objectives, and just in general get in the way of the enemy team. Big shout out, of course, to Jack Links, the official pro team partner of the Dallas Fuel, for their support here in this Lone Star Challenge. Great to have them on board, and we'll get plenty more of those instant replays as we go, and we have a chance to actually pick out some of the more defining moments from the series so far. But Jake, the series is evened up at 1 apiece here. We're going to head briefly to a short break, and when we return, map number 3 will be of the assault variety. It will be Hanamura. We'll see you right after the break. Jack Links, proud to be the official protein snack of Team Envy and the Dallas Fuel. Jack Links, feed your wild side. From your favorite Texas restaurants to everyday essentials, get anything you want delivered fast. Shop online or through the HEB app to purchase your groceries today. Here, everything's better.
In life, there are people who hike with poles and drink their meals, and people who feed on Jack Link's Jerky, a protein snack made with 100% beef. Because in life, you either run with Sasquatch or you run from Sasquatch.
Hey guys, it's Blank from Houston Outlaws, and this is our day with Zenny.
Play Overwatch 16 hours per day.
I've had a lot of issues with my eyes in the past.
The more I play, the more tired my eyes get.
They showed us a presentation on how blue light filters work, how it can help your eyes, your health, your performance.
With Zenny's glasses, they feel more natural part of your style or your fashion.
With these glasses specifically, it's very hard to tell a difference. So I think every gamer can actually benefit from them. It'll help your eyes without taking away from the gameplay.
120 Hz refresh rate, quad-core processor, 16 gigs of RAM, lag-free 5G, and a battery that won't quit, just like you. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G, the ultimate gaming trophy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Lone Star Challenge. It is a game. We have an even series here now after map 2. It was Kings Row, which was, of course, Dallas Fuel's selection, but the Outlaws proved to be just a little bit too good. It's so bizarre to me, in fact, Jake, that, we saw the Outlaws start Ilios trying to play like a slower, a Reinhardt-based, trading the neutral composition when they look so good playing this dive around a Wrecking Ball and Diva.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And now taking the mirror match, they come out on top. If anything, I think the Fuel probably regret switching quickly off. They went to the Wrecking Ball to give themselves a contest on second, but ended up being caught in the trap of just stuck on that dive comp. And I think the Orisa is actually really strong on defense. But the Outlaws don't agree. I mean, the Outlaws played dive pretty much the whole map through and worked out really, really well for them. So, as you said, this is the same look that they had in their last match against the Titans, where they were incredibly dominant, playing dive pretty much permanently. But as we see a bit of a lineup change for the Outlaws, Muma and Blase, as well as Raucous coming into the starting lineup, my thought is that we might see a different look. Maybe now is back to the Orisa, back to the Ryan meta, where I think probably Muma, with his experience on main tank, is a bit more comfortable. But, props to Hydration for putting out a great performance on Winston and Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball's a hero I expected him to be good on, but the Winston, I didn't think he would be this dominant, and he had some great primals in that last map.
Yeah, absolutely. Looked really, really good, actually. It's nice to get to see Muma here, and yeah, we may end up seeing an Orisa-based composition. We won't know for a little bit, though. The Dallas Fuel, though, we can start to, think a little bit about their composition. They have an Orisa and a Sigma, so double shield plus the Brigitte and the Ana. Jake, they'd also plan, of course, to play the Echo here. So what is what we generally expect to see on Hanamura? Like, I wouldn't be shocked, from some teams to see Torbjorn, but not defensively, we see it all the time. We have, though, over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think the Torb is pretty well suited to work on particularly Hanamura. There's a lot of great spots to drop the turret. Even if you're on attack, if you leave that turret in choke as you push in, a lot of time the defenders, they aren't in a sight line that allows them to peek through choke. They're just holding for once you're actually past that threshold. So that could work out for the Outlaws. I think even the Sim has a lot of potential, in a lot of these comps that are, again, so focused on the choke. If you use that TP just to sort of cheat your way right onto point, if you're running a very fast brawl comp, sometimes you just cap the point before the defenders can really marshal their resources around defense.
I mean, we are in a quick pause, ladies and gentlemen, just quickly to let you know, we got a couple players, or at least one, having to reconnect to the game, so we'll be back with that in just a moment. The Symmetra play, if we get to see it, quite often, Jake, it's just, teams push out of spawn and use that TP, but she really is a glass cannon, right? Has incredible ability to ramp up her damage over the course of a team fight, but if she doesn't have shielding to protect her, it seems like she gets blown up awfully fast. Like, you see it with Ryan comps, but if a Reinhardt starts to swing and doesn't have a shield up, we often see Symmetras just get picked off in seconds.
Yeah, that I think when you are going to play a Symmetra comp, that's why I think the best Symmetra comps are the ones with 2 shields. So either Ryan Sigma or Ryan Orisa, actually, I think is probably the best comp for that Symmetra, because you have tanks that are very, very defensive, can just put up shields, slow down the enemy advance, and let Symmetra actually be in her niche glass cannon role. But as you said, if the defenders are ready, pick off that Symmetra, the comp pretty much falls apart, right? So you're running these very defensive tanks, and as soon as they lose that glass cannon behind them, then their purpose is kind of nullified. So if you're going to run the Sim, you have to protect her, you have to keep her alive. But, despite being a glass cannon, an effective cannon she certainly is. When that energy beam gets full charge, I mean, she's one of the highest DPS dealers in the entire game. So high risk, high reward. But on Hanamura, where attacking can be just brutal no matter what you do, the Symmetra's teleporter, I think, really is that crucial ability, sort of cheating the defenders from their initial advantage where they have full control of the high ground, can surround a choke and fight you exactly where they want you. The TP really breaks all the rules of engagement as far as getting you to point without running a Lucio.
Yeah, I mean, the device in Overwatch used to support defenders in many cases, where there were 2. One is high ground and the other is choke points. And Symmetra allows you to potentially circumvent not just the chokes, but also high ground by, sending your team up there rather quickly with a teleport. A lot of attackers try and make their way in on the right-hand side of Hanamura point A to, I guess, just avoid taking a bunch of poke damage, right? It's like the safest route, it lets them cut through a lot of that open ground and get towards the point and play from there. But we'll see if they actually decide to go with that one now. Do you think that do you rather see that instead of the Tracer or the Echo here? Like, what does a composition now without hero pools that uses Symmetra look like to you, ideally?
Well, I think if you're going to run the Symmetra, the key tools are basically close range fighting tools, because the ultimate strategy around the Symmetra is teleport to point and just cap it before the enemy can really get ahead of you, right? Because when you teleport to point like that, you are giving up all map control. The defenders are very quickly going to surround you and start poking you from all sides. The question really is, can you just force their tanks off of the point for just long enough to get the capture? Almost always the defenders are still going to have their DPS and their flex support, you know, those value generating heroes. Those are going to be alive throughout the end of the fight. You're basically giving up the fact that you're not going to attempt to kill them if you're going to go for a sim TP strat. So heroes like Reaper and Mei that help you with that close range style can be pretty effective. But it's also possible that they're not even going to run the sim. They could just use it to TP out of spawn and you know, not commit to it at all. Right now, Blase just teasing me with a little offensive Junkrat pick. I don't think we're going to see that. I don't think it's good at all against Ashe and Echo on the defense, especially a Mercy pocketed Ashe and Echo that Closer's going to bring out here. I actually think that's a great pick from Closer, giving them a huge investment really in Decay and Doha. But Blase on the sim, so as I expected with the Mei partnership, it is going to be most likely a TP the point strat here.
All right. Mei not available in the Overwatch League this week, but here at the Lone Star Challenge she is. So we'll see if the Outlaws can get close enough to the point here to really leverage the close quarters fighting power of this Mei. And so far not so bad, with the exception of Dante getting splattered by sticky bombs the second that he showed. So now the Outlaws have to go on without him.
This is pretty painful. Raucous getting separated as well, so very awkward fight for the Outlaws. Doesn't seem like they're ever going to be able to leverage their strategy. Losing one early like that is so painful, and it's showing the difficulty. I mean, Outlaws go for this TP to high ground strat instead of going to point with the idea that they'll be able to get the point. But with this Echo and Ashe knowing that there's no real threat on them, they just get super aggressive, and that's where the Mercy pocket from Closer really gets a ton of value. Mercy doesn't really keep up with other heroes in terms of raw healing output, but when you're just purely damage boosting a hero like Echo, that's just really, really deadly. The hero does insane damage without a damage boost, so you give him that consistent 30% increase in his DPS, and it's going to have high impact. So we see the Outlaws switching over to a more diverse strategy. I like Dante's choice of Tracer here. It's a great hero to put pressure on Mercy, make her think about her Ana instead of just perma-pocketing the DPS.
It's insane that Doha bought 55 seconds for his team by getting the sticky bomb pick early on Dante now, and with only 2 minutes 35 seconds left, the Outlaws have to make a move, and they do. Dante approaches the point. He briefly saw a Discord orb on Decay and tried to capitalize now, and he will continue to follow those orbs in the back line to make sure he's able to burst down one of those squishier targets as quickly as possible. Closer, yeah, getting a little bit of scrutiny from Dante now. He spent most of his time, of course, trying to keep that Ashe nice and charged up. But Boomer gets rid of Decay's Bob here. So some of those stall elements for the Dallas Fuel have been taken out of the picture. But Dante's still ranging wide on a flank here, looking either for a pulse bomb or maybe a one clip on an enemy Tracer. But now he's in deep trouble. He'll have to recall to the high ground. He managed to give Doha, I think, the slip there as he duplicated the Tracer, but hasn't found anything big yet.
Yeah, it's a really nice juke onto the copy, but he's pretty much just being a distraction right now, staying live. Hard for him to actually get value on it, but that's exactly what he's looking for. As I'm saying it, gets the stick onto Note. Note gets res, but that takes Closer out of the fight for a moment, and Jexa takes another advantage. So looks like the Outlaws starting to close this one out. Dante's distractions really producing a ton of value, although Gamsu's Supercharger trying to keep them in it here.
Muma does a great job of just staying alive there. And Note, he's had a tough round so far. Now he's going to get caught in the gravitic flux and pressured down. He tried to kinetic grasp away some of the damage from Muma, but he was beset on all sides. And now Dante, this is the part of the fight where he gets to be a bit more aggressive and go deeper for some of those cuts. He's able to find Gamsu, finish him off, and the Outlaws are able to roll through. Great job for Muma. Took a lot of focus, a lot of damage, but, you know, shrugged a lot of that off and gave the Outlaws a good chance to encircle. So the Outlaws, well, they take, what, 3 minutes, I guess, Drake, on point A? So they have about 4 to work with now. Crucially, though, they actually have an amplification matrix in Dragon Strike. How does Blase get the most value out of the Hanzo ultimate here?
This is a great situation for Hanzo ult. Oh, Raucous does get picked off, so probably going to be just a soft reset for the Outlaws, but gives me more time to describe the Dragon Strike. It's a great situation for the Dragon Strike, actually, because defenders are almost always going to group up on that high ground, so usually in a well-positioned Dragon Strike can get you out. Doha, ooh, gets stunned, barely gets out of that one alive.
But yeah, if Blase can drop the Dragon Strike on high ground, it might force the defenders back, and probably not going to get any kills, but very likely will get the attackers the high ground, which can be really, really valuable, can secure you the advantage you need to start taking second point. But, you know, as we know, this is Hanamura, this is an assault map. Attackers, they have to be perfect. So Outlaws, this is where they have the ultimate advantage. If they don't win this push, I think the round's looking pretty dire.
So the Dragon Strike is part of the first step, and Blase lets it go. Garmstu's actually forced to stand where he is right now, lest he takes a bunch of damage, and Dante finishes him off. So not only a positional advantage potentially generated, but also a kill, and Dante gets himself another one. Now that platform being controlled by the Houston Outlaws, and Jexer's going to go for a Transcendence there just to keep Raucous alive. I respect that. The Bob was definitely quite a threat. And now with 2 ticks are looking for a third one. Jake, you said the attackers had to be perfect. Well, they've had the perfect start to this fight. They've lost Jexer, but Garmstu's now gone down. Doha needs to contend with the Immortality field over on the point and is able to remove that eventually, but he's not able to touch. And the Outlaws, rather simply, Jake, snap point B up.
Yeah, it all started with a textbook Dragon Strike from Blase there. Puts it behind Gamsu. So as you said, Gamsu just forced to stay in the corner and take the full brunt of the rest of the Outlaws' damage. And, you know, with everyone focusing him down, he does fall. And losing your main tank like that is pretty much worst case scenario for the defenders. Narissa is a hero that you want to keep alive long term, that you want to have, you know, using those cooldowns over and over again. Like every shield you put out, every halt you're able to use, and every fortify cycle, all of those things are buying a ton of time and are just a very efficient way to give value on the defense, setting up your other players. But in fact, it's actually Dante who opens up with 2 picks there. So, you know, and that's pretty much exactly what you're praying for on offense on Hanamura. Normally, it does look like that. Normally, the defenders usually clean the attack quite a few times, but Dante Tracer getting maximum value really on the attack. I think that was decisive for the Outlaws, creating tons of openings, being a huge distraction, but also actually finding kills. I mean, that's the difference between a top tier Tracer like Dante and a noob like me.
That do be too hard on yourself, Broco. The Dallas Fuel.
Right, well, you compare me to Dante, it's hard. I mean, Dante's a god gamer Tracer, so I mean, I gotta be honest. Like he's just getting incredible impact on the hero. He's a distraction when he needs to be a distraction, but when he has a bigger opening, he takes it, and he always seems to get those pulse bomb stuff.
I remember your first game on Brig, Jake. I reckon it was on Gibraltar. I'm pretty sure. And you were getting these airborne shield bashes dropping down from the shuttle in that second phase of the map. It was actually quite a fun series there. So plenty of moments from you. I know you're hoping I'd refer to a Junkrat moment, but the Brig one just stuck out. Don't know why.
I enjoyed having a nice favorable matchup against Striker for once.
All right, well, Decay's going to be on the Genji here, so this is an interesting look for the Dallas Fuel. Now, Jake, what are your thoughts on this little adaptation, which we don't see often at all?
Very interesting. I think it's going to be a bit tough for him, though, because he's matched up against these really strong tanks in Muma and Meko, and he needs to be able to quickly farm up that Dragon Blade. You see all of the Fuel are grouping around behind him as he pressures point, but Genji's just a hero that pretty much farms Dragon Blade and uses it. Muma does get caught by the Biotic Grenade, though, and that's going to cost him his life. So even though Decay's not getting the most value, the rest of his team is producing here as, ooh, Decay, what a flank onto Blase. Ooh, and the deflect.
Deflected to the headshot. Can't ask for much more than that now. Crimzo may be down, but Decay's found Meko. That's a second kill for the Genji. Dante looking to clean up Note and goes for the focusing beam on the Diva after she was kicked out, but Doha finds some lovely sticky bomb connections there onto Dante in midair, and it is the Decay and Doha show. Decay close to a Dragon Blade now, and the Genji is outstripping the Ana in terms of ultimate generation, and that's kind of what you were hoping for, Jake, to see Decay be able to safely build a Dragon Blade. Jexer is in deep trouble as Decay catches him too.
I mean, this is incredibly bad for the Outlaws. In all likelihood, the attackers are going to win the first push and have a big advantage time bank here. So if the Outlaws can somehow hold on through Decay's Nano Blade, a beat from Closer to secure everything, and Doha has a copy to add insult to injury, this is going to be an incredible hold from them if they can manage it. Blase might have the Bob needed to contest point, but the Outlaws, they're just going to have to focus on surviving as Decay already takes the entry. 2 kills.
Oh no.
Ooh,
Decay.
Nice Raucous move.
He gets into the back line. Raucous is forced out of the fight though. Now Crimzo and Doha are taken down. So the Dallas Fuel aren't looking all that flash either in terms of personnel. Note being desuited now, and Decay looked very good, but the same problem for Genji, as it always is, sort of manifests here. It's the tanks. Oh, Gamsu. He doesn't go for a Primal Rage there. He didn't have an opportunity, or he chose not to. Either way, that fight is over.
Yeah, I think that's pretty wise by Gamsu not to commit because, you know, it's the nature of Hanamura, right? The defenders get a couple pickoffs and they're just going to stabilize almost every time with the huge spawn advantage. And because the Outlaws had such a disadvantage in that last fight in Ultimates, now they've completely flipped the switch and setting themselves up for a very strong hold. Dallas fully committed on this dive comp, even going to switch over to the Moira, but against a Brig with a rally, I just don't see how you can get kills in this situation. Outlaws have every ultimate they could possibly want. Raucous almost with his own nano as well.
Raucous might be caught though before he has a chance to get much done here. Great rally from Jexa now, just as all the scrutiny was being turned on the Outlaws on that high ground, and Dallas say no, we don't want any part of this, and they back right on out. Crucially, the Outlaws maintain 4 of their ultimate abilities despite getting Dallas to commit.
Yeah, you know, as you're saying, Raucous might die, rally comes in, armor pack comes in. It's like, well, I thought that Ana was gonna die. Nope, she has 600 health now. So, yeah, that's the power of rally really against this Konami do about it. And it costs scams Prime, so, you know, we're here with the Fuel is they're trading. I guess that is efficient. You trade Primal, you get Rally and Bob, but you know, as long as the Outlaws have 3 to 4 ultimates consistently, they're pretty much always going to be able to make this defense look easy. And Doha has had the copy for a while. He just hasn't been able to find an opening for it. It's awkward because all you're going to do is copy dive here, and the enemy team is already running a counter dive comp. So
yeah, Doha does copy the Winston, but doesn't hit the backline like you kind of allude to. Jake just sort of tries to support his team as they themselves are getting dove on. Now with the Primal Rage, Doha might feel a little bit more confident doing this, but he gets burst down so quickly. It is an opening that allows Decay to stick a pulse bomb to Raucous though, so that seems to have been worth it. Doha with the sound barrier now as Closer lays that one down, but the Dallas Fuel still have a lot of work to do in this fight. Raucous is brought back. Bob in the background, churning away with the minigun. Doha needs to get his hands dirty here, and he's looking for Raucous, but he's put to sleep. Muma takes Closer down, and the Bob finally hits the mark. Blase is able to get rid of Gamsu through his burly bodyguard. And Decay now has to look on. He'll have to wait for the Dallas Fuel to rejoin once more. And they'll come back in with a self-destruct and nothing else. Crimzo on the Moira now. It definitely feels like the Dallas Fuel are struggling to find answers here. The Outlaws confident enough to have Blase switch over now towards the Torbjorn. Again, a good counter towards the Tracer. Really going to be able to punish Decay if he gets too close. But Dante gets picked out early here. Note with that self-destruct, that one poultry ultimate, well, Decay's been able to build a pulse bomb awfully fast. Muma was in trouble, had to use his Primal Rage now, and the Dallas Fuel are getting some of those ultimate traits that we're looking for. Note self-destruct can be sent towards the point here, but the Outlaws losing a player early, they bought enough time with that Primal to get him back.
Yeah, it's such a painful situation here for the offense. Decay, though, strikes back, could be winnable, but the nano onto Muma is just so strong in this defensive position. You see the Fuel have to give up that high ground and potentially reset here. Crimzo coming up in his coalescence. A few ultimates now online for the offense, so this is another moment of power play, but I love Blase's decision to switch over to the Torbjorn here. I think it adds so much. A very, very durable hero, and the Torbjorn turret as well. Really annoying, especially for heroes like Echo and Tracer that rely on dodging damage. Well, the Torbjorn turret does not care about your movement.
Nope. And Decay has Dante to get through before he even has to think about having to face Blase. Doha copies a Diva here. So extra durability and mobility available for Dallas Fuel right now, and Decay's able to get in there. Cat amongst the pigeons. Raucous goes down, and now Dante could be in trouble. Decay gets a lot of that clip on towards him, and Dallas find some big kills, some crucial pickups now, and Jexa has no idea what's hitting him right now. Blase surrounded on the point, and Dallas get a capture finally with exactly 1 minute remaining, maybe 59 seconds, but they'll get boosted back up, and the Outlaws lead with 2.5 minutes in their time bank.
Yeah, being able to hold through that initial Dallas power play was a really important moment, I think, for the Outlaws, able to secure themselves an advantage here. But remember, the last time Dallas attacked, they did it easily in one fight and had a really good chance to snowball, I think. So for the Outlaws to succeed on this defense, I think they're going to have to be a little bit more cautious, a little bit better answers for that Echo Genji. It felt like Outlaws were playing very defensively, holding in the back corners. So if anything, I'd like to see the Outlaws run a more concerted anti-dive effort. But the risk on defense is that you have to account for anything that the attackers might pull out. So if you go for that all-in anti-dive strat, you might end up getting punished in another way. And with Dallas showing a Torbjorn and an Orisa, that could be the case here. This is a comp that is very likely, I think, to take first, because I don't know how the Outlaws are going to be able to get kills. It's pretty much on Raucous to find some sort of massive biotic grenade. Note does switch to the Sigma, should make that job just a little bit easier. But without a bio grenade, it's so difficult to get through those heals from Moira and Lucio. And on top of that, you're playing against a Torbjorn, a hero that is already super super durable. But Dallas just consistently trolling me, proving me wrong. It's going to be the potential TP to point strat. But once again, similar situation where very hard to burst these heroes down unless Blase can find a similar pick as Doha found in his first defense.
I was going to say, are we living in the world where attacking Torbjorn is now entirely viable? That may still be the case here, but Dallas fancy themselves, oh, well, there's not much subtlety to this, about as subtle as a sledgehammer rather Fuel as they get to point. They're standing there. That's what they wanted. 6 players capturing currently, and Decay now is just harassing in the backline as Dante trying to do much the same. The Crimzo benefits greatly here from his team being so grouped together. That Biotic Grasp healing is going to be highly efficient. Then a Dallas Fuel due to that are able to push off the point as a death ball, as a unit. So they were capturing, and all of a sudden they were belting Mumura around their head parts. And yeah, Dallas with 20 seconds left in the round are going to have point A taken here. And you we were right, Jake. You said you felt that Dallas were going to be pretty comfortable pushing in here, but it was not with the Torbjorn.
Yeah, I think the Mei is a great choice there, using the wall to block off one angle of attack. In that case, they block off Raucous' angle, so recognizing that the key threat really is the Biotic Grenade, and another TP to the point. Muma only on 44% Primal. He's been really stymied, so difficult to get close to this Deathball comp. Crimzo with the Coalescence as well, but that's the nade from Raucous. That's what we talked about, potentially opening things up for his team.
Yep, that's what lets Blase get that Fire Strike duplicated kill on towards Gamsu. Desperately, Crimzo was trying to use the Coalescence to heal his team up, but it pretty much got shut down entirely by a Biotic Grenade. If you can get a trade of a normal cooldown, actually cancelling an ultimate, you are in very good shape, but so is Decay. He is fired up. He's doing a lot of damage, and Muma now needs to go into Primal Rage to commit to getting rid of the Symmetra. The Blizzard on the point could be a problem, though. Muma can only dive in and out very briefly, but he's able to do that quite effectively. Jump in, then jump out. Not long enough for him to be frozen up here. And now we're in overtime. The Dallas Fuel unable to get even one tick on the point. But with the amount of time they had left, Jake, they've got to be happy with taking point A. Did it with a minute left. Now the reinforcements will come in, but are quickly sent packing. Pulse Bomb to note will end the round.
Yeah, it's certainly a good offense there, given the limited time bank by the Dallas Fuel. I like the decision on strategy there, running the Orisa Rhine with the Mei and the Symmetra, especially because the last round they played a completely opposite comp, right? They played the full dive strat, which Houston was certainly expecting given their defensive picks, but just no confident answers, I think, to that Orisa Rhine with the Symmetra TP to point. And I like the way Fuel played that. I think that's better than Outlaws moved when they went to the high ground, tried to like wrap to point. I think it's just when you're gonna run the Symmetra, I think you said it best, like simple as a sledgehammer, just go straight to point and brawl it out, right? Like that's what your comp wants to do. Just do it. Don't take a rotation. Like anything you do to give the defense time is only really going to help them. So it's a great move by the Fuel to get that first control, but still very winnable for the Outlaws. If anything, though, I think the Outlaws would be pretty happy with the draw here, as they set themselves up to do pretty much the same thing that we saw from the Fuel last round. And Fuel, they don't even have a Biotic Grenade on their side to answer this, so it could be even better for the Outlaws. Dante showing Reaper instead of Mei, but similar idea, right? Just make it impossible for the enemy to come into close range and just focus all your resources on defending your Symmetra.
Jake, if it's so effective just to teleport straight to the point, why do we see teams actually go all round and go the safe way with the Sim TP?
I think the Sim TP to high ground, the idea is that you can first clear a high ground like that an Ashe might be standing on, and then you move to point with her drop to the low ground or potentially finding a kill on her. But I think the TP straight to point, personally I think it's better, but I can see why teams want to clear that high ground. It is a dangerous place if you allow certain heroes to sit there, but now we see Blase making that adaptation.
Yeah, extremely direct approach here, but it's almost a bait in and of itself. The teleport isn't taken by many players. However, the Outlaws spend some time just standing out in the open there. It gives enough for Decay to sort of work Blase down. Gamsu's able to find Raucous, so there's no Moira healing available now, and this is a very ill-fated approach for the Outlaws. It's pretty much over before it begins, Jake.
Kind of confused about that one. I mean, I see the idea as far as baiting the TP, but with Doha and Decay already in the backline when the TP comes down, question in my mind,
you don't want to be there. You want to be away from them.
It's like, who are you baiting, right? Like, no, you don't. The tank, like, Fuel had an optimal setup there, so not taking the TP doesn't change anything. And the Fuel still have a great setup, and Doha with an insanely quick build on the EMP. I don't see any way the Outlaws can win this fight. They're about to get 6 people in the feed.
Doha sets up. Gonna make his way across. He's in the back line. There it is, the EMP, and because the Outlaws stick together out in the open, all of them are affected by that. A very efficient way to secure a guaranteed win in a fight, and Decay Needs to limber up a little bit, apparently. Some crouches, some cheeky squats, and there's now about 1 minute and 10 seconds for Houston to capture point A.
That's a great way to put it, Mitch. Limbering up, just warming up the old quads, you know, getting ready for the next fight. And Dallas Fuel setting up to potentially actually get a win on this map. I thought the draw might be in the cards here on Dallas's map pick, but they're not satisfied with less than a win here. Is, you know, again, another ultimate advantage for the Fuel. We'll see if Outlaws can deal with this. Blaze's Reaper has his work cut out for him here as far as dealing with Gamsu's Prime.
Dante got ruined. He got hacked there, and Close was able just to run him down. Dante was not able to join the rest of the Outlaws inside the safety of this side room because his blink was offline. Now Muma on the Reinhardt. This is kind of frustrating for Ryan. He sort of has to turn around constantly, try and swat Winston's away. But as he does this, the Outlaws are making no progress. They are not advancing towards the point, and the longer that the Outlaws stay in no man's land like this, the easier it is going to be for Decay to pick them off one at a time. Blase decides that he needs to make a play, so he teleports forward and prepares to drop down to the point, but his presence is known to the Dallas Fuel. Doha stays scarce, and now here is the Coalescence. There'll be enough time for Decay to come on in here, but Dante will be able to rejoin the fight after getting picked off early. It may not matter though, because Jex is down, and he had sound barrier, Jake. He's lost that as well, and another EMP from Doha onto Muma and Meko, enabling them to eat Raucous alive, and Muma didn't have a chance to use his shatter either. It's a disastrous situation for Houston, who had all the tools they needed, but they lacked, I guess, the opposable thumbs to operate them correctly. I don't know. Either way, Dallas will take their second map in this series. Hanamura goes to the blue.
And what can you say other than Decay got a huge carry there on that defense? Not only does he find the openings for his team, but he continues to snowball that advantage. You know, I was going to say, well, it's not such a big deal for Dante to die because his team can move in 5v6, then he can come in effectively as a flanker off the spawn. But Decay recognizes this, you know, being an experienced Tracer player, and he just goes for the spawn camp, and I just don't think Dante's ready for that. I think he just got bursted without being able to get a recall off. So Decay really clutching up for his team, then shutting down Lucio before sound barrier can come out. And Jexa, to his credit, you know, it's like if he drops the sound barrier there, he's just going to get EMP'd. So he kind of has to hold it in reserve. So, but that's why Decay chooses to pressure him, knows that Jexa is caught between a rock and a hard place, and enables the Fuel to get a win on their map pick when it looked pretty dire for them going into that round.
Normally, you just wait out the EMP, right? As Lucio, you hide away, you wait for the EMP to be used, and then you come out back into the open. There was no time for that for Houston, and there was nowhere to hide because they were approaching the point. Of course, a big shout out to HEB for making the Lone Star Challenge possible. And that Ginger Guy 23 says, just wait until Dante's Tracer/Echo come alive. We've already seen a little bit of that. His Tracer unfortunately got shut down there. T_Mario108 says that, yes, it is time for the Dallas Fuel to show Houston who they are. Now, who are they? Right now, they're 2-1 up, so a very good start for the Dallas Fuel, but this series has all the hallmarks of one that will go all the way. Prinky says he loves his boys a lot, or they love their boys a lot, win or lose. Outlaws have got their heart. And Jake, that is a quality that you find in Houston Outlaws fans. I feel like almost universally, it's you know, that support of their team through thick and thin.
Yeah, there's such a great community of support. I would say behind both of these teams, frankly, like both with really passionate fan bases. That's something that gets referenced a lot when they go up against each other in the Overwatch League and when they go up against other teams. So to see them matched up together is, I think, the perfect scenario, right? You get these two passionate fan bases pitted against one another. And for me, that really is like the point, the ideal of the Overwatch League, right? To get these passionate fans, you know, a lot of them from their home cities cheering for their team, and you know, to have a close series as the format for that fan contest is, I think, just the perfect moment. So really happy to be here, a part of this Lone Star Challenge.
Likewise, and you're dead right. Setting these two teams with such incredible fan bases on a collision course is always going to be a recipe for fun. So again, thank you to HEB for making this Lone Star Challenge possible. So that's map number 3 down. The series currently stands at 2-1, favoring the Dallas Fuel. It's a best of 7 though. Many more opportunities for Houston to find maps over the next couple. They will eventually get their pick now, of course, in map number 4, because that's what they fought for. So we'll get to see Houston make their selection. It is going to be Rialto. So when we come back after the break, we'll have a change of pace and a change of scenery. So stick around, ladies and gentlemen. The Lone Star Challenge continues right after these messages. Lone Star Challenge, presented by Samsung. Always gaming, always Texas. Stay connected and stay gaming with the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G. Jack Links, proud to be the official protein snack of Team Envy and the Dallas Fuel. Jack Links, feed your wild side. If you're a Dallas Fuel or Houston Outlaws fan and wish to support your team, there's still time to order this season's team jersey or merchandise. Be sure to check out the Fanatics shop at overwatchleague.com and receive a 25% discount today.
Hey guys, it's Blank from Houston Outlaws, and this is our day with Zenny.
Play Overwatch 16 hours per day.
I've had a lot of issues with my eyes in the past.
The more I play, the more tired my eyes get.
They showed us a presentation on how blue light filters work, how it can help your eyes, your health, your performance.
With Zenny's glasses, they feel more natural part of your style or your fashion.
With these glasses specifically, it's very hard to tell a difference. So I think every gamer can actually benefit from them. It'll help your eyes without taking away from the gameplay.
Refresh rate, quad-core processor, 16 gigs of RAM, lag-free 5G, and a battery that won't quit, just like you. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G, the ultimate gaming trophy.
Welcome back to the Lone Star Challenge presented by Samsung One and All, and it is map number 4 coming right at you. And it's been a close one so far, Jake. Thanks for joining me. And the Dallas Fuel just come up with the goods there at the end of Hanamura in a bit of an unlikely situation. The Outlaws had more time to work with, but couldn't capture point A.
Yeah, it all started with that awkward TP bait the Outlaws went for, looking to not use their teleport. I think that gave Doha a ton of value, and he charged just such an incredibly quick TP. I just don't think the Outlaws were ready for that. Or sorry, EMP. I don't think the Outlaws were ready for that. Because when it came down, it hit all 6 members, and when you hit a 6-man EMP and your team just wins the fight off the back of that, usually that means you just have a huge ultimate advantage going forward, and that was exactly the case. So from there, Decay just took over, and Dallas Fuel earned their 2-1 out of this map pick advantage. But, you know, if anything, the Outlaws are not too upset about this, right? Like, coming out with 1 map win out of the 3 Dallas Fuel consecutive map picks. Now they're onto their home map. And, you know, if their last performance on Rialto is anything to go by, this is a comfort map for them. You can see why they chose it. Linkser had a huge performance in the Overwatch League last time he played, though that was against a much weaker opponent in the Titans.
Yeah, regardless, though, you definitely get a feeling that the Outlaws, you know, will be wanting that map to come up a little bit more in the Overwatch League. It's worth mentioning that, you know, for those that maybe aren't too deep in the minutiae of the Overwatch League, is that teams don't get to choose maps. They are preset, pre-selected, and served up, and you get what you're given essentially. So, you know, as you scrim, and you know, I'm sure Jake, you can probably speak to this as well. You do sort of come across maps that you feel like you're better on as a team, or you just intrinsically understand a bit more. What maps were those, I guess, you know, during your time on the Outlaws? What maps did you really like playing on?
For us, I think I always thought Eichenwald was one of our best maps, like Eichenwald, and for quite a time Junkertown as well. Just maps where I think at that time it was mostly because Linkser was so dominant on Widow, and I could play, you know, Junkrat to my heart's content. So some ideal maps, you know, sort of putting your comfort heroes in their comfort zone as well. I think is really the key as far as having a good map. And as far as this map being good for the Outlaws, there's a lot of situations where you can have a tank really control a front line, and you can have your supports way far back just farming for value very defensively. So I think that'll actually suit the Outlaws quite well on this map. But once again, we see Dallas Fuel picking a very aggressive dive comp, so gonna look to disrupt that backline stability that Linkser, Raucous, and Repel are potentially gonna be relying on.
Let's see if Raucous and Repel specifically can hang on there. Meko will be called on to do a 180 and help them out should he be called upon. Now, Linkser there briefly spots Closer, who's hoping to get some sort of environmental kill pressure going from that spot there. But here's the dive. Dallas are in, and they find Raucous early on. They lose Closer, but Closer was really just the impetus for the Fuel, just to speed them on in there. And now Meko will try and chase Doha away. Doha definitely swings in through the canals and is in a position now to get healed up and help the rest of his team. They need to get rid of Muma here, who's been looking pretty comfortable.
Yeah, Muma was just a huge annoyance on the Orisa, and Muma and Meko just stuck to the cart. So even though the dive was successful, it still cost the Fuel a ton of HP. So it didn't seem like they were able to really recover after that initial success. And, you know, with that close spawn for the attackers, Raucous gonna switch over to the Brig. Now it's Crimso's Coalescence to start the fight coming in on this next round. Should be a pretty good dive again for the Fuel, but Raucous is ready on the Brig.
Yeah, well, the dives here, Raucous is going to have to be there with the stun to prevent the Winston from doing work, but that Coalescence is getting value. Crimso finds 3. Damage and healing, plenty of both there for the Dallas Fuel, and it complements their dive oh so well. It's just Dante left alive, and, well, there's not much he can do until those respawns come back in. Dallas looked a little bit shaky, Jake, but now they can set back up on this high ground and, you know, try and chain more of these dive fight victories together.
Yeah, it's a great use of the coal there, getting a big opening for the Fuel. And, you know, Dallas, they retreat, or sorry, Houston, they retreat back into a corner, into a long sideline where that Coalescence just destroys them all. But now a few more ultimates online for the Outlaws. Should have a moment to attack here. Doha again drops to the pressure from Linkser.
Yeah, Decay though, looking for Repel there. Not nearly enough damage from him. There'll have to be a pulse bomb to give the Fuel any chance of turning this fight in their favor. But that Immortality Field makes a pulse bomb a little bit difficult. Yeah, Decay's looking at Meko. He wants him bad, but he waited far too long. And in the meantime, Dante was able to cut through 2 Dallas Fuel players. And now Gamsu has to run just to try and keep the card contested. He can't even do that. He uses Primal Rage, but a clever little whip shot knocks him back and gets the card. Its first checkpoint.
That's so painful for the Fuel. The Outlaws going to be really happy with their result there. Again, Doha has just been pressured so heavily, he doesn't even have his first copy ready. And that's playing a dive comp that historically has been an enabling factor for Echo, creating space for her. But, you know, Outlaws showing that they're not distracted. Decay trying to do his best on the flank on Tracer. It just feels like the openings haven't been there for him this round as they were in the last few maps.
No, I mean, he's spending time trying to get rid of Dante, who's very, very airborne, so that should tell you about his target selection presently. Although Repel could be in trouble, he has to go for that immortality field now, and it probably still won't save him here. Just allows the card a little bit of extra push while, you know, Muma and Meko are able to sit there. But Decay has returned now. Muma's going to be in trouble, and the Houston Outlaws sort of get picked apart from the outside in. Dante goes for a duplicate or a DV here, so self-destruct gets thrown in. Closer's able to stay out of range though, but Dante actually gets rid of him as he resuits. There's a little bit of damage from that animation that finds him. Gamsu is back and he's angry. Self-destruct there as well from Note will create plenty of space and allow him to resuit, and Raucous will have to run.
Doha on the high ground on Doomfist might look for a play, just gonna back off, and as Raucous gets closer to that rally, that's really the key moment where the Houston Outlaws have a huge edge. Rally, huge ultimate here, especially with no Bionade available for Crimzo on the Moira.
Oh, that's so nasty. Decay gets Linksa just before he touches the ground, so Linksa doesn't even have the chance to move. He's stuck in midair, hits the ground, and then, well, they end up losing Repel to that same blast. Now, Bob does find the kill on the Tracer. Lovely little bit of Tracer play, though, from Decay. The sad part is that doesn't really help the Dallas Fuel in the grand scheme of the fight. They still get shunted off, and now they're out of position with only 3 players here on the high ground, and those sticky bombs are going to hurt.
Classic rally moment where Brig takes a full charge punch into the wall and just kills the Doomfist right after. So that's the danger of rally. So difficult to burn down. And Meko switching over to the Roadhog, a very unconventional pick, but one that's been working out for him in these past couple fights. As now the Outlaws take second point for nearly 4 minutes in the time bank to work with. This is starting to look really good for them. Linkser onto the Tracer. I love this decision from Linkser. A bit unconventional, but is able to put a lot of pressure on, and Dante somehow finds the sticks onto a fast-moving target like Tracer. Very impressive shot from him, and I think things are starting to look pretty good for the Outlaws, although another Cole coming up and no defensive ultimates online to defend.
That was a halt from Muma, Jake, that actually held Decay in midair long enough for those sticky bombs to all connect. So lovely little combo between the two. Linksa a long way away from his pulse bomb here, but Dante will have a duplicate. He uses it immediately. He wants to be Sombra. He's going to get an EMP quickly at this rate, but Doha, so clever. He hacks the Sombra duplicate immediately, so Dante can't get an EMP. Unfortunately for him, though, Linksa is still able to punish, and Doha is removed. 70% on the way towards that EMP. Gamsu takes a face full of sticky bombs there as soon as he primal rages, but still is able to find a kill. This fight has become really scrappy now, and the Meko on the Roadhog is such a problem for the Winston to deal with.
Yeah, you know, this comp with no Ana, you know, Ana's one of the best heroes against Roadhog with Sleep and Bionade both countering Roadhog's heal. But now Crimzo is going to switch over to Ana, but no Nano to work with as he was on Moira previous to this fight. Nice fancy footwork by Dante to get out of that one. Could have been in trouble, and Raucous with the rally could be enough, but Doha's EMP could also win the fight. So this one's going to be all about the ultimate usage as Outlaws look to close out the map.
EMP, Doha wants to let this one go early, but he needs to hit as many people as he can, and he's forced to translocate away from the fight early. That gives Raucous time to get his rally in the first place, and he uses it instantly. Now Decay's gone down, and Doha will be ruining a missed opportunity here. He'll go for the EMP, but it only catches Muma, just one target. That's not enough. Crimzo is down, self-destruct thrown into the backside, and yeah, Linksa was able to find that kill. Meko, Muma, everyone sat up on the payload here, and the Dallas Fuel being shoved aside. But Dante, even though he had a bunch of backup, still falls to Decay. Meko's in a great spot here to pressure the shield of Gamsu down. Good biotic grenade connected there by Crimzo, but he lacks teammates to capitalize on that healing shutdown. And now one by one, the Dallas Fuel ought to fall. The Outlaws still have good numbers here on the card. Decay has to slip away for just a moment now, and the whole hog will ensure the Outlaws get across the line with about 91 seconds to spare.
Beautiful play by the Houston Outlaws. I think it all started with Linkser winning that fight against Decay's Tracer, something that not many players in the league have been able to do. So I think this was a great switch by Linkser. You know, when he gets that Brig armor, he has a big advantage in the duel, especially Crimzo on the Ana or the Moira. Those support heroes aren't really the best for healing a highly mobile hero like Tracer. So Decay potentially suffering in that matchup because of the choices overall from the comp. And then once the Outlaws get that kill, they just spread out so aggressively, and there's no moment for Doha to find that good EMP. And you know, when it does come in, it's pretty terrible, right? Hitting only Muma, and Muma even gets the fortify off before the EMP actually hits him. So he's a pretty much impossible target to follow up on. And I think when that EMP went sour, that was pretty much the end of it for the Dallas Fuel on that defense. Great work by them as well to not get EMP. That's a tough map to avoid, you know, given that tight choke point on third. Very easy to group up and overextend there. Dallas Fuel going to make a very, very different look right now on offense, but I wonder if this is real. I mean, this would be pretty surprising comp to bring out on Rialto. Pretty awkward comp for the Deathball Rush. And Houston Outlaws, it's time for Linkster to really have his work cut out for him. Linkster and Raucous, you know, on the Ashe Zen, very greedy choices, but if you can't punish them, they're going to pay off big time, especially with this Orisa Sigma frontline.
Both of them need to be pretty wary, though. If Decay had gone for the Widow, there could have been some threat there, but it will be Tracer and Sombra for the Dallas Fuel. Both targets that, frankly, Ashe has a little bit of difficulty hitting just because of how slippery they are. Tracer even more so. Linkster gets plenty of early damage now, already at about 10% of his ultimate and counting. Yeah, Dynamite is eaten up there. Note making sure no explosion on the car.
Ooh, what a headshot by Linkster, though. That's so crucial. Pretty much denies any chance at a dive for the Dallas Fuel. Although Decay disagrees. They want to commit anyway. Just go with their existing health pool. Don't need to get healed if you don't take any damage. But Decay instantly bursted. Nice accuracy by Raucous. I think he had to have gotten a headshot there to get that kill so quick.
Yeah, Meko as well, pretty forgiving with those hyperspheres based on the small area of effect damage that they do generate. But yeah, I mean, it's 150 health. They just turned on the Tracer and picked her off. And Decay knew that, you know, the Outlaws were aware of his presence there. He went for a bit of a risky play and it didn't pay off. This one did, though. So Doha's able to find Dante, clips his wings and removes him. And now the Fuel can go back to the cart after taking a more circuitous approach. And Doha loves being here. No focus on him. Raucous is low, forces out that immortality field, and that gets hacked immediately. So instead of destroying it much faster if you have a Sombra, just to hack that drone, remove that immortality buff, and now the Dallas Fuel will be on the march with the cart.
Yeah, it's so important that the Fuel were able to win that fight without investing in Coalescence, because, you know, here at the end of the first point, tends to be a pretty open sightline, can be a pretty difficult task to avoid a Coalescence, and Raucous has not gotten very much charge on his Transcendence. Difficult to do against a dive comp. Fuel look to get very aggressive.
Dante also wants to play just an off angle here. Start off with some of those sticky bombs and capitalize, but Muma and Meko having them fall down so early could be a huge problem, and Dante had no protection. And all the threat was sort of generated by him, so he didn't have enough time to even get a full focusing beam channel. The Outlaws get washed away once more, and the Fuel, 4 minutes and 35 seconds on the clock, and they have Decay embedded deep here, looking for a pulse bomb just to make it even harder for the Outlaws to get 6 players in position to challenge this next corner.
Yeah, and the Outlaws, I think, are really going to be relying on this Transcendence from Raucous, but it's still 40% away, and with the tempo that the Fuel have been playing, I don't really see it coming online this round. Quick EMP from Doha.
Yeah, and hit Raucous crucially, so not only is he not generating it, but he lost all of that shield. That's a lot of his health pretty much gone in that moment, and the Fuel, it's another one team fight. This is starting to turn into a full-blown snowball now. The longer that Meko stays alive, the more staggered he gets, and he realizes that whilst he was taking a breather and healing up, so he eventually drops down, but you can see that the Outlaws now are really trying to pace the Fuel by getting back to the point, but fight after fight, they're losing, and they're losing without the Fuel having to use many of these ultimates. Dallas still have 4 to work with.
Yeah, still in control here. The Bob should buy some time, but it's all on Raucous getting that Transcendence. He gets hacked up immediately. His team has to keep him up here, but Meko, what a huge pickup, canceling the Coalescence.
That is gigantic. Dante over the top there, duplicating a Sombra. And look how quickly that EMP is built up. That is nuts. Closer and Gumsy both affected by it, and the timing couldn't have been better. Closer just used the sound barrier, just as Dante got that EMP. You can't ask for that. You don't see that very often. I don't think Dante was trying to play for that, but he completely shut down an ultimate that Closer spent minutes building, where it took him seconds to get that copied EMP.
Oh, Dante building an EMP 6 times faster than normal. That's not a sight you want to see on the opposing team. Gamsu going to make the switch over to the Rhine, try and capitalize here off Doha's next EMP, which he's built very, very quickly, and nice pickup by Decay, gets them an early advantage. Raucous' Transcendence going to have to be perfect here. If Doha gets the EMP over on the Zen, it should be curtains here for the second point defense in the Outlaws.
Raucous, though, he's played this meta plenty. He should know that he has to stay clear of that EMP, but no, he'd get hit by it anyway. He couldn't escape it. Raucous is low on health. He had the chance to use his Transcendence, but with Meko down, okay, he does still go for it. Muma falls, though. Raucous didn't have a chance to heal him up, and now that Transcendence looks god-awful.
Yeah, the painful fight for the Outlaws there. As you said, Raucous getting clipped by the EMP, pretty much decided it. Raucous tried to save Muma with the trance. It was a valiant effort, but just not enough heals, despite the fact that Muma's fortified and he's getting trance healed. Just too much pressure with the Fuel taking down the rest of the targets. They have nobody else to worry about. Muma now trying to retreat, trying to stabilize in the spawn, but the Fuel are just relentless. They're chasing deep, and these staggers are really going to get them a lot of time here on this final push.
Yeah, Crimzo's just pushing in, Jake, on this Moira. You love to be in those situations, throw those Bionic Orbs forward and get free damage. Now, Crimzo maybe set up for an aggressive Coalescence here. Okay, was in the back line with both the Bionic Orb and a Coalescence. This is odd because he can't fade during that period of time, and the Canadian gets a little bit ahead of himself, and that was questionable play.
Yeah, needed some team support there, and it didn't really come through, but Decay does find Raucous in the post-fight. Repel still alive, and with the Amplification Matrix, should have no problem healing up his team. Nice hack by Doha, though, denies a lot of the value here from this Bob, and able to get Dante as well, so Doha kind of crushing on this Sombra offense, looking to beat Houston's incredible time that they set. This is a very offensive favored side of Rialto, not normally what we see out of this map.
Yeah, Doha's giving you everything you want, including 2 tanks on a silver platter. Muma and Meko got hacked there, and Muma had no time to use the supercharger, nor would that have been advisable anyway. Close is going to have a sound barrier as well, but Decay gets a double pulse bomb. It's beautiful. And Repel can't touch. He was hacked trying to approach. Dallas get incredibly high value out of this Sombra, Jake. They looked so good. Doha was hacking Immortality Fields. He was hacking Bobs. He was getting huge EMPs, making Raucous' life completely miserable that whole round.
Yeah, I would have loved to see maybe a Brig pick come out. I think the plan for the Houston Outlaws was just to stabilize on last point where their comp should have been most effective, but they just couldn't keep pace with Doha's EMP. I mean, he was so incredibly quick getting that ultimate up that they just weren't ready with the counter ultimates, right? If you do have that Transcendence online, in theory, it should be something you can respond to, but Doha was just so far ahead in terms of his tempo that Dallas Fuel were able to capitalize perfectly, and that gives them a big advantage coming into this time bank on the round 2.
How do you answer that? How do you answer that Sombra threat now if you're the Outlaws and you know you're behind on time bank?
I'd love to see heroes like Brig and Ana come out against Sombra. Those are, in my opinion, the 2 best heroes against Sombra, both offering that interrupt potential, so you could even cancel an EMP or more reasonably just burst Sombra down so that she can't translocate out when she's in that farming phase. But the Zen Bap is a very greedy comp, focused more on just dealing the damage, not really so much on survivability. And could see a different look come out from the Outlaws here, but so far they want to play the Zen Bap. Although once they see that Dallas Fuel are still confidently running this all-in dive, I'm not sure that that'll stay the same.
Yeah, it's odd to still see the Zen being played now, especially with how difficult things were for Raucous when Doha was running Rampage on this Sombra. He will stay, he'll switch. Okay, so he goes for the Brig here. So a little bit of a mix-up, less greedy composition. Gamsu gets sticky bombed. Some vandalism occurring early in the round here by Dante. He'll be healed up though, and won't be anything to write home about in the end. Linksa gets a headshot on Decay, and Doha is in trouble. Focusing beam, yeah, it's going to get him quite low here. Linksa's in position to fight him. The Outlaws get everything they want early.
Ooh, that's exactly the opposite of what the Fuel are hoping for. Losing a first fight so brutally on dive comp is a worst case scenario, because dive comp is a strat that, you know, you want to be in the advantage. You want to be staying ahead on the ultimate charge and winning early fights to do that. But, you know, when the reverse is happening, dive comp really suffers. So we're going to see Gamsu switch.
Oh, no!
Ooh, a big overextension by Muma, getting heavily punished. Great accuracy by Decay to get that kill, and now the Outlaws are running for the hills. That's just a big error on Houston's side, and Fuel more than happy to take that home.
I mean, that surely shouldn't really happen, right? The Outlaws lose Muma, and then they immediately have to disengage.
Yeah, Raucous was going back to Swan to switch over to the Zen. Ooh, but that's a great counter kill. Why Dante and Lynx are both activating to take down the enemy DPS, keeping their team alive in this round.
Covering the errors here for the Houston Outlaws just by pure fragging potential. Lynxa and Dante. Gamsu goes down, Dante finds him, focusing beam, and Meko wants to forge ahead. Sigma likes to be here too, continuously setting new barriers further and further forward, taking more space, and Dallas are kicking themselves. They had such a big opportunity there, but then just lose 2 players to picks, and they have to concede the checkpoint. But now we are in overtime. The Outlaws cannot leave the car for any reason.
Yeah, and it's Coalescence versus Copy here. Dante needs to get a lot of value to be able to deal with the heals coming in. Meko, though, caught alone and heavily punished. Still a fight, though, for the Outlaws.
Decay gets some shots in there. Raucous getting pressured heavily. Decay gets a health pack, so Dynamite not too much of an issue. Trying to work down Bob, but Lynxa is able to use it to get that kill on Gamsu. And Dante again is firing up. The Outlaws DPS players rising to the occasion, and the cart's still moving. Dallas have Decay, Crimzo, and Closer left, and they all have to get out of dodge. More and more progress now being ceded to Houston, making it even harder for Dallas to match that when it comes to their go on attack.
This is a critical failure. Given the overtime spawns, it's going to be very difficult. Outlaws stepping off the cart there for a second. That was dangerous by Muma, but he's back, and Raucous needs to finish this Transcendence, but helped out by a big pick by Lynxer.
Crimzo going for the biotic grasp here, losing a lot of health, and now Coalescence will be great to have, but he's still a little ways away from it. Gumsu's down, Decay as well, and the Outlaws are going to keep going in overtime. They just keep winning these fights. Linkser, Dante going absolutely mental. A duplicate on the Orisa here, which makes perfect sense because the Outlaws do not want to be moved.
And the fact that Raucous wins that fight without investing Transcendence wisely, elects to just let himself fall, trust his team to win the fight, and when he comes back with his Transcendence next fight, that's going to be the perfect edge to outlast Closer's Sound Barrier. Meko as well with Grudic Flux probably just going to force the Sound Barrier all on his own, so this is going to be tough. Fuel, they have to start the card here to have any chance of winning this map.
I don't have any big ultimates quite yet. They will in a couple of seconds, though. Both support ultimates should be enough to get the job done. Here's the Coalescence Repel. He loses his Immortality Field. Doha's able to back away there from the Gravitic Flux, but Muma's still trying to push the cart, get a little bit of extra progress and try and get the Outlaws closer to their goal. Eventually, Houston will be stopped, but they get 5 checkpoints and some. And that is something that the Dallas Fuel are going to be kicking themselves for letting happen. The Dallas Fuel don't have a lot of time themselves to work with. They lose a couple fights and they won't get nearly as far as Houston.
The Outlaws started that with a minute 30 in the time bank, but you wouldn't know it considering how incredibly far they just pushed that payload. A couple of massive fight wins. Gotta shout out Linkser and Dante here. Huge carry plays. Even when Outlaws made that critical error, losing Muma when they started to win the first fight, Linkser and Dante strike back yet again, picking off both DPS on the side of the Fuel. And that was just a story of the round. So many fights were began by Linkser getting a quick pickoff onto Decay or Doha, and Dante doing much the same with the cleanup. So huge plays from the Outlaws, giving them a very, very good odds of closing out their map pick here on Rialto, bringing the series potentially to 2-2. Fuel, they're gonna need to strike back hard if they have any hope of taking this map. But you see Raucous, he's already anticipating the dive comp. He's already on the Brigida, so setting his team up really well to stabilize when he gets that rally online.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Dallas Fuel have their win condition established now. It's just a little bit harder than I hoped it would be. We'll have to see now as Dante showing us off a little bit of that golden echo gun, which was quite nice. That's not something we get to see in the league normally.
It's a flashy
but Houston,
look.
Yeah, it's very glam, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the kind of thing you'd see on like the runway at the Oscars or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like Billie Eilish kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe next time. Doha is going to push forward now and get himself at least behind the Outlaws setup here. This is a very long way around. He puts a very deep translocator in, and you must feel nice, right? When you can just go off on your own journey and Decay still finds a kill for you. Still more work to be done. Now Doha is in the fight, sees that Immortality Beacon, removes it, but
how does Linkser survive
the Outlaws
that?
are so durable.
How does Linkser
They're so
survive?
durable here.
It's incredible.
A lot of healing, I guess. Raucous getting plenty of Inspire procs there to keep him on up, and Repel, of course, is also there with his secondary fire. Closer down by a whip shot, and this was exactly the situation that Dallas were afraid of. The Houston Outlaws, not only do they stand their ground, but they bite back.
Yeah, and despite losing Dante early, which should have been more painful than it was, the Outlaws do great work there. Doha's flank looked good, but just did not pay off at all in the end, and Raucous and Meko close to their ultimates, two very strong ultimates at countering the dive comp. Linkser as well with that Bob, all these things are just going to serve to continue melting down that clock, and Dallas, they're going to have to make a lot of consecutive fight wins when it comes to overtime here.
1 minute 22 left now. Gumsy tries to drop in once more and almost drops out entirely. Dante is removed, so Decay again, he finds that first pick. Doha no closer to an EMP than he was a couple of moments ago, so not really in a position to do much damage. There's so many shields. Decay has to dodge and weave his way through them to actually ensure that he's doing damage to his target. That Immortality Field really prevented that Pulse Bomb from having much of an impact, but Meko was damaged heavily by it. Now Lynx has dropped to the low ground here, and Gumsu sees a golden opportunity, and no, it's not Lynx's weapon. Gravitic Flux looks like it attempted to be used there. Meko getting one of his own. Laying that one down, and Dante able to burn Crimzo down, and this is exactly what Dallas Fuel was scared of. Again, Jake, 35 seconds left in the round, and they really haven't made much progress now. Decay's done well, but Doha just gets his EMP here, and he'll have it, but only for one last fight.
Yeah, and you would think the EMP would be enough here, right? So I would say that the Fuel, they should be winning this first fight. They should be getting a little bit of momentum going into overtime. But if that goes bad for them, it's all over here. And think about the immensity of the task in front of them, right? They have to win 4 or 5 fights in a row from this point on. So it's on to Doha here. Let's see if he can open it up well. But instantly decloaked by Meko. No, that's brutal.
And that can't happen. That's happened once before to Doha, and the results were devastating. It happened on the defense now. We're going to be in overtime one way or another. Doha is hoping just to try and get as many as he can with this, and he gets 3. Dante copies a Sombra, though. As this happens, he might have an EMP of his own. This could be disastrous for the Dallas Fuel. Yes, the Outlaws have lost Muma. Dante gets an EMP. Oh, no, he actually gets hacked to prevent him from doing that. I think he eventually goes for one, but he was interrupted. Dante over the top now, gets the focusing beam in there, closer, gets rid of Raucous, and Dante eventually is brought down to the ground by the Coalescence, but Lynx is back, or at least he was. He sent the Bob in there, and now the Wrecking Ball joins in. Muma and Bob name a better duo. Note is desuited, and Crimzo has to throw himself at the cart just to keep this going, and he can't make it. From the grave, Lynxer gets multiple kills with that Bob, and secures a map win for the Houston Outlaws now. The series is tied at 2-2.
Oof. And it seemed like that could have been the Fuel's moment there, but it seems like also a minor play, but it couldn't be more important there with Meko decloaking Doha, canceling out his attempt at going in for the EMP, and just no ability to regroup from that point forward. Doha almost redeemed himself. I think the hack actually canceled Dante's EMP, but just wasn't enough for them to secure the fight win. You know, Bob and that Hammond coming back into the fight, just too difficult to deal with when you're down to those low player counts in the overtime.
And that's what it looks like, Jake, when you get your map selection here. The Houston Outlaws really making that one count. And now, our skills challenges will no longer have a bearing on the series as it goes forward. We've had 4 maps. Those 4 map picks were already decided in those last couple of weeks. And now it's just old-fashioned Pound Town. These two teams are going to just be picking whatever maps that they can as the series goes on. I think it's loser pick there, but I'm not entirely certain. But we'll have our play of the game in just a moment here, presented by Favor and HEB, and get to look over some of the moments here on Rialto that kind of defined the map for the Outlaws, Jake.
Yeah, Dante switching over to the Sombra here. It's such a great moment for Dante, right? So experienced on this hero, and Echo is just the perfect situation, but Doha, what a hack. Imagine if that EMP had come down. I mean, Outlaws do win this fight, but if that EMP had come down, I think it would have been many times more decisive, especially would have forced Closer's sound barrier quite a few seconds earlier, which seems like a small thing, but actually makes a huge difference at top level play. But nonetheless, Dante still manages to get a ton of value with this fight, still putting out a ton of damage despite the hack coming in from Doha. And, you know, at that point, Lynxer's Bob is pretty much end all be all here when Muma's stalling the cart.
Yeah, I mean, he gets closer with the coach gun, and then Bob gets 2 kills, or at least, he gets rid of Crimzo, and then Note as he was desuited there. So no real chance for the Tracer. I think we saw Decay trying to run towards the point, but couldn't get there at all. So what an interesting turn of events. We kind of hinted at the start of this whole Lone Star challenge that there was a good chance it would go very close given the team's recent history playing one another in the Overwatch League. But we're very happy to see that this is in fact the case. So map number 5, it won't be a decided map, but it will put a team on match point. That one is going to be coming up very, very soon. And I'm not even sure who's going to pick it. I assume that Dallas Fuel actually get to select that map. So we'll see what their kind of choice is. Their choice is. It is a Dallas map pick. I've had that confirmed for me now. So what do they come up with here? Because they've really started to run out of steam in this series. Rialto was a fairly drawn out affair, and it looked like it really wore them down. And yeah, Doha looked incredible, Jake. A lot of the time, it's the intangibles for a Sombra player that really make them good. Getting those hacks like you did on Dante made a big difference. But what do you expect to see the Fuel go for? Like, where do you feel like they're strong? Do you want to see them go for control, considering how they looked early?
I mean, it seems like their best comp is this very fast, aggressive dive. Decay and Doha have, over the course of the whole series, I think, played really well. You know, Doha farming incredibly quick EMPs, Decay constantly producing on that Tracer, whether with those Pulse Pistols or the Pulse Bomb, you know, consistently finding value, finding pickoffs. It just feels that Houston now started to figure out this strategy, right? They're consistently running the Brig and the BAP, two very defensive supports, able to keep their teammates alive, and the rest of the team has been putting mostly their pressure onto Gamsu and Note. So while Decay and Doha are allowed to run rampant, without the tank support, they just can't stay in the fight for long enough, and seems that Houston's counter picks have been working out for them since they started to pick this Brig BAP comp.
Jake, you were hard on them. You said they were playing a pretty greedy composition there, Zen Baptiste with the Ash, but they've changed their ways. They've gone to something more robust, and it seems to have made a gigantic difference. So Yes, big shout out to Houston for making that sort of evolution. We are going to be back in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Map 5 is right around the corner. I'll give you a hint. Dallas Fuel did, in fact, choose control. Of course, very quickly, a big shout out to Favor. Texas favorites delivered fast. He could be one of the first 500 new users to apply the code FUEL10 for $10 off your first order. Restrictions do apply. Visit favordelivery.com/promos for details. Favor, anything delivered. All right, we'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. Map number 5 is right around the corner, so stay tuned for more of this Lone Star Challenge. From your favorite Texas restaurants to everyday essentials, get anything you want delivered fast with Favor. Be one of the first 500 new users to apply code FUEL10 for $10 off your first order. Restrictions apply. Visit favordelivery.com/promos for details. Favor, anything delivered.
Being a Houston Outlaw requires Raucous to practice for 8 to 10 hours per day. And nothing is better than HEB's delicious meal simples. He eats them every day, and when he runs low, he just goes to his My HEB app, places his order, and heads to HEB. He texts HEB when he arrives, grabs his HEB order, and heads home.
Hey, I got food. I'm back, guys.
HEB Curbside, making it easy for Raucous to be a Houston Outlaw.
In life, you either eat the protein of Jack Link's steaks, made with 100% beef, and you run with Sasquatch, or you run from Sasquatch.
120 Hz refresh rate, quad-core processor, 16 gigs of RAM, lag-free 5G, and a battery that won't quit, just like you. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G, the ultimate gaming trophy.
Couldn't have asked for much more from this Lone Star Challenge so far. Sorry about that little brief mute, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. We've had a breather after our first 4 maps in this series. But right now, it looks like the Outlaws have the edge, Jake. You complimented them on their adaptation, bringing more Brigitte play in and making it much harder for the dive of Dallas to have effect.
Yeah, what I will say for the Fuel, though, is that going back into this control map type, they were absolutely dominant on Ilios. Gamsu, Decay, and Doha combining up for a truly deadly dive composition. So as we go back to control, the question is, do the Outlaws answer? Does this actually work going onto the control map type, where it's going to be much more difficult to control those flanks? It's going to be way harder to get this backline stability that the Outlaws have been relying on. But, you know, as I say that, it's a nice switch. Having Blase and Jexa back in the lineup makes them more confident, I think, in mirroring this dive strategy. You know, Linkster's a player who consistently wants to be playing those backline hit scan heroes, where Blase, quite the opposite, wants to be frontlining, wants to be playing aggressive. And now that he's into play Echo, Dante can go over to his faithful Tracer and have that true mirror that I think he's been looking for against Decay ever since Hanamura.
I feel like this suits the Outlaws' strengths in terms of hero pool much more. Raucous gets to play his vaunted Ana, and Jexa has been incredibly good on both the Lucio and Brigitte so far this season. So the Outlaws should be happy with this. Now, easy flanking is kind of intrinsic to a lot of these control maps, so there will be opportunities for that to happen. But Decay, oh no, he just got sticky bombed and he just saw him drop like a fly. An awful start here for the Fuel. They've lost both their damage dealers, and the Outlaws are definitely going to be starting in control at this point.
I mean, everybody's dead and the point's not even open yet. You can't do much better than that. And Jexa as well, getting some tips from Decay, limbering up, you know, ready for the next fight.
He's feeling the beat, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think what was really the key there was that Fuel was expecting a Rhine comp. You know, you're going to run Genji and Doomfist, very greedy dive heroes, where against Tracer and Echo, they can't really compete, I think, in terms of mobility and flexibility. So I think that was mostly a strategic mistake from Fuel, predicting the Outlaws to continue on their streak of defensive comps. But now in the dive mirror, Outlaws seem quite confident.
All right, let's see what Decay and Doha can do now after switching to Tracer and Sombra again, respectively. So far, not a whole lot. Jexa just runs into Decay, accosts him with a shield bash and forces him to get right the heck out of that fight. 34% and counting, and the brilliant part is here for the Fuel, or for the Outlaws, should I say, is that they can build those ultimates and not be pressured to use them, which sets them up looking really, really good now coming to the next fight. They have a Primal Rage and a Pulse Bomb here. Crimso's Coalescence, Jake, is really going to have to go the distance.
Yeah, certainly here, but with Raucous, Bionade, and this map, I think, being a lot more difficult to dive with a Cole, because the defenders can just retreat into these stairways positions and be pretty durable, pretty hard to catch up to with the Coalescence. So we'll see if Crimso's able to get that significant value off of it.
Oh, Hydration had to put down a shield immediately to prevent himself from getting hacked. Then he may not have had a chance to use Primal Rage at all. Doha is down though. Blase finds that kill, and every DPS engagement has been going the way of the Outlaws so far. Blase and Dante, you sort of hinted at it. You know, Dante's right where he wants to be on this pick, and Blase is just so good across a multitude of different heroes that Echo suits him, fits him like a glove. Hydration hasn't had to use that Primal Rage yet at all, but it might be time in just a moment here. Gamsu has gone for it first, though. It enables him to get rid of Raucous, but Decay has gone down elsewhere, and Hydration isn't bothered about the Winston right now. He's much more interested in getting rid of Closer, some of these squishier backliners now, and he's going to stick to them like glue. That forces out the sound barrier here, and Jexa's gone down.
Yeah, and the Outlaws, they are going to commit to this fight with Meko dropping the self-destruct to get back in the suit. Hydration also has Primal if he wants to commit too, so looking to win this 100-0. A very greedy choice by the Outlaws, but it looks to be paying off, as without Crimso, that's all the sustain pretty much gone for the side of the Dallas Fuel, and Doha almost with his first EMP ready, but he's so low, it's going to be hard to find the opening to properly utilize this.
Oh, patient though. Look at this patience. Okay, Doha finally gets that EMP, lets it go. It enables him to get just the one kill, but that's not nearly enough. It's only a D-suit for that. And there's no way the Dallas Fuel are going to come back in this round now, and none of their ultimates are getting them any value. Nano boost for Hydration as a Coalescence in play for Crimso, but talking about low value now, they get hit with a Biotic Grenade. Raucous punishes that backline, and there was no way, Dallas, we're going to have a chance in that round. And Houston now look like they are really, really fired up.
Yeah, Dallas, they've got to be feeling pretty bad after that one. Getting 100-0'd on control is actually pretty unlikely, right? Like, you know, getting 99 and then the enemy team flips, almost always what happens when you get a great start to the round. But to win 100-0 means you're truly dominating your opponents. So the Fuel, despite having early success with this dive comp, it's not working out for them now. And Ooh, this is worrisome. Have they lost confidence in the dive? Gonna switch over to a Rhine and Reaper-based strat. It could work here, but if Jex is on the Lucio as well, I do think there's gonna be an advantage here for the Outlaws. Okay, they do switch back to dive. I like this from the Fuel. I don't think Rhine is particularly strong on this map. So it's gonna be mostly the mirror match here. Although Decay with the TP trying to get his team quick to point, that's going to give his Ana a potential advantage on the high ground take. So I like this move by the Fuel to make use of this metric.
Doha immediately gets a hack on that mega health pack, so that's tough for Dante, who wants to sort of linger close to that one and benefit from the respawns of that health pack as much as possible. And Crimzo gets to go to the high ground here, focusing currently on keeping his tanks up as Gamsu takes a bit of damage there from the sticky bombs. And Crimzo won't really be bothered too much now, so he's in a good spot. It's the rest of his team that really has to follow through. They're taking a ton of damage from the Outlaws, though. Decay gets healed up quickly. Note's a little bit low. Gamsu rolls on through after being given that biotic grenade, but Houston start with control of the point. Now Houston are happy to just drag this fight out as long as Dallas want to. Ideally, they want to win it, and that looks more and more likely now with Closer getting burst down by Blase.
Oh, and getting control like that, Mitch, it's so deadly because now the Fuel, if they lose this fight, instead of just giving up the flip as they lose, they're going to be so far behind in terms of control percentage. You see it just ticking up and up. And Fuel, they're still trying to fight this one out, down a player. So, you know, electing to go kind of all in here, but we could see a repeat of the last round if the Outlaws are able to get control. And it looks like they are. I mean, Blase has no real contest in the sky dominating, and, you know, Crimzo not able to control the high ground any longer. It's a pretty awkward fight for the Fuel, and Outlaws are going to really reap a ton of rewards from this
Jack, that looks so much worse for Dallas when they lose control of the point early and still commit to this really drawn-out fight, which, by the way, still going. They're still trying to push the point. Essentially, the Outlaws have gained control now, but Gamsu's able to roll through Dante, and that might be a short-lived stint on the point, but they've already got 50%. They already have enough of a lead now to be happy with that first fight. Dallas have banked some ultimates, though. Maybe an EMP from Doha could be good, but it's tough to catch a lot of people in them, as evidenced by that play. Doha will just settle for the front line, and that allows Note to burn hydration down.
Yeah, it is going to be a flip of control here for Fuel. This is exactly what they needed to get back into the fight, and committing an EMP, that's to be expected, I would say. Now it's time for the Outlaws to see if they can get a retake. Doha's going to be over onto the Soldier 76, so it might be a bit awkward for him. Nano does come in from Crimzo, so Decay has his work cut out for him, but Meko to disrupt.
Nano Tracer catches Raucous. Raucous tried to get away from the pulse bomb, but Ana's mobility is one of the lowest in the game, and there's really not much that he could have done. Jumped away, still got taken down, and Decay got that nano boost. It definitely helped his durability there. Not the conventional target for that ultimate, perhaps, but without a Winston in play, Dallas felt that was the best move, and they're up to 33% now.
And that's a huge turnaround because Jexa committed his rally to try and win that one out. So the fact that the Outlaws weren't able to win it means they're now facing Closer's massive rally advantage. And that tends to be the most important ult in dive combo. Though Outlaw's going to nano in onto Doha, and he's dropping very low.
And he's down. He wasn't able to stay alive for very long. Focusing beam, so punishing when you're low on health. And Dante is getting close to building up that EMP. Hydration did fall to a pulse bomb, and Dante's trying to get a hack on towards Decay. He can't, though. He's forced to translocate out, and the Outlaws don't have control back quite yet. They're trying to wrest it away, but Blase's duplicate is interrupted by Note's self-destruct. Dante, though, is ready for an EMP. If he gets enough room and opportunity to use it, it could be devastating. He lets it go now, and it catches 3. Doha, Decay, and Note, but where's the follow-up? Hydration can't get there. Finally, now he rolls in, but the EMP is already expired. Crimzo's able to get the nano boost on towards Note and help the Diva be a bit more aggressive. Dante again looking for another pick, again has to translocate out, and the Fuel are now in control.
This is truly an epic recovery by the Fuel, starting off about as bad as you can expect. On that mid-fight, they've had control ever since getting the flip off Doha's EMP, and now Doha on the Soldier 76 getting a ton of value. Gamsu's Mines, no obvious counter to them coming into this next fight, so the stuns need to be on point for the Outlaws. If they get caught by this minefield, it's going to be curtains for them here in round 2.
Gamsu looking for a chance, a place to put the field itself. Hydration, pile drive to the high ground. Gamsu follows suit, but Raucous is down. That's not good for the Outlaws. Jex is sleeping as well, so there's no healing at all. And Doha, it's an easy pick off with a tactical visor now. And of course, the Outlaws have no shielding, just a defense matrix. It's not enough to protect them from the onslaught of Soldier 76. The legs have it, apparently, and the Dallas Fuel now will take this second round of Oasis, forcing a tiebreaker here in map 5.
And as dominant as round 1 was, and even the mid-fight for round 2 going so strongly in favor of Houston, I thought they were in solid control here of Oasis, but Fuel showing why they picked this map. A huge recovery off the back of massive pickoff by Decay, really taking that nano and luckily able to get Raucous with it. I think if he hadn't hit that pulse bomb, I mean, he didn't get the stick, but it was close enough to get the kill that I think without that, Jexa would have pushed him with the rally and we would have seen quite a different round. Now the Outlaws going to go back to their bread and butter with this Rhine composition. This map, however, is a lot harder to play dive on, just a lot less mobility options. So I think this is a wise choice for Houston and Dallas, but Decay and Crimzo on these more playmaking oriented heroes, whereas Raucous and Blase on the Reaper Moira, it's going to be basically a question of whether Decay and Crimzo can find big value and justify their worth. Otherwise, Houston should have the overall advantage in a long trade.
Hydration now forced to go head to head in the Reinhardt battle against Gamsu, which is no small task. The Outlaws opt to start around on the high ground, and you'll see Decay there just at the back of the screen trying to make his way around to the left-hand side and use that cover as much as possible. Hydration shield is a little bit lower now. He wants to barrel forward the rest of his team. Jexa gives the signal. Forward they go. Big hit on Gamsu. The fire strike to set it up, and it's an easy cleanup now. The Reinhardt battle won out by Hydration and the Outlaws. We'll see what
they do take control of the point there. It was a nice move, and I think it was mostly set up by the one hero I failed to mention, Meko on the Sigma. This pick actually means that despite running the McCree and the Ana, playing against Sigma means you're pretty much always going to be behind on the spam when Note's on the Diva. So now Dallas going to switch back to this all-in dive, but very difficult to execute here on this close quarters map. It's a lot easier for a hero like Ryan to control chokes. Gamsu going to take the long road, going to go all the way behind, but Raucous does have the coalescence, so it won't be easy to burst him down this fight.
Decay's pulse bomb doesn't find anything yet, which is a bit of a worrying sign for the Fuel now. As playing in close quarters is extra dangerous with Coalescence now online, and Raucous lets it go. Gamsu's trying to flank, but he's just been kind of struggling to find any opportunity to make a play here. And he may just opt to back away in general. Right now he's trying to disrupt, rolling through. You saw Blase got knocked forward. That was the wrecking ball behind him. Doha duplicating a Reaper here. No chance to go for a gainful Death Blossom. The Outlaws will retain control. And crucially, Raucous is already halfway to another Coalescence.
Decay's on him, though, so the team, they have to support him, and nice dive by the Fuel. Does take out the main healer and the main DPS. Dante's striking back, though, and he has the copy. If he's able to get a crucial copy here, should be able to win this round. Does copy the Ana, trying to take down Crimzo with the Bionade. Dante does it.
Yeah, he does it, but he's not able to keep Hydration alive, so he has that extra healing. Now he pops out a duplicate, but the sound barrier is there, and the Outlaws, they want to up the ante in this fight, no pun intended, because that's exactly what they're doing, committing extra ultimates in a very even fight there. So rolling the dice and coming up with the goods now at 77%. The Dallas Fuel more and more desperate as this round grows, and Dante might have himself a double here. Not quite as much of a focusing beam damage on Note as he would have liked, though.
Yeah, but he does pick up his counterpart and sets Note so low that Note needs to get re-healed before he can initiate. So the clock's just ticking here for the Outlaws, and Blase's huge Death Blossom barely kept alive by the Coalescence as well. Outlaws want to close this map out here and now.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. It's going to be the drips and drabs coming in now. Kinetic Grasp used by Meko. A lot of extra healing for him there as he ate Decay's Pulse Bomb. Nuts! Gamsu straight down the hole, and that's not where he wants to be at all now. It's Closer forced to back away. And another 100-0 round looks to be on the cards for the Outlaws as they set themselves up a match point, and they go ahead 3-2 in this series.
And Mitch, this is the second time that the Dallas Fuel have picked a map and then lost it. So Outlaws, they've got to be feeling themselves at this point. Dallas, they're going to have another map pick, but Houston on match point here, potentially ready to take the series. I don't think they're scared of the map pick advantage anymore.
No, I don't think so, and maybe it never mattered to them in the first place. The series was neck and neck even at the beginning of it there, but Raucous there with the Coalescence to finish things off, and when you can get your Moira online and getting a lot of those ultimates build up, you're definitely set in good shape, to continue just maintaining an advantage, or snowball set advantage. And I love the Sigma pick there early on from Meko. It looked really good, and it really enabled them to win that first fight by taking Gamsu so low. I don't think the Fuel realized that that would be a pick that the Outlaws would go for, so they went for that sort of close play in the right side room, and yeah, summarily punished for it, Jake.
Yeah, and another 100-0, quite a rare sight to see in the Overwatch League level gameplay on Control. So Outlaws looking really, really strong, looking to close out the series now. Dallas, their biggest strong suit has been Decay on this Tracer, I feel, and in those rounds, he felt completely shut down. It's always been his pulse bombs, as you said, that are making the difference. So when they miss, you start to worry for the Dallas Fuel.
Well, Only one more map in this series here as the Houston Outlaws look to carry this momentum forward. So far, the prospects are good, but we'll have to see if that is actually what happens in reality. Map 6 is just around the corner, so stay tuned here as the Lone Star Challenge continues to deliver.
In life, there are people who hike with poles and drink their meals, and people who feed on Jack Link's jerky, a protein snack made with 100% beef. Because in life, you either run with Sasquatch or you run from Sasquatch.
Hey guys, it's Blank from the Houston Outlaws, and this is our day with Zenny.
Play Overwatch 16 hours per day.
I've had a lot of issues with my eyes in the past.
The more I play, the more tired my eyes get.
They showed us a presentation on how blue light filters work, how it can help your eyes, your health, your performance.
With Zenny's glasses, they feel more natural part of your style or your fashion.
With these glasses specifically, it's very hard to tell a difference. So I think every gamer can actually benefit from them. It'll help your eyes without taking away from the gameplay.
120 Hz refresh rate, quad-core processor, 16 gigs of RAM, lag-free 5G, and a battery that won't quit, just like you. The Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra 5G, the ultimate gaming trophy.
Well, the writing is on the wall now. The Houston Outlaws look to have bounced back from a little bit of an anemic start to the series, or at least one that was very close between the two teams. They've definitely taken some big strides out ahead after that convincing Oasis victory, Jake.
Yeah, Mitch, I would totally agree. I mean, Ilios, if we look back to that, it's the question is where have those teams gone? I mean, the Outlaws got completely dominated on our first map of the series, making it look like the Fuel's map picks were really going to play a big part in the series. But now on to Oasis, another Fuel map pick, just completely shut out by the Outlaws. I mean, they did take a round, but even that round felt more like Decay's hero play saved it for the Fuel rather than, you know, an overall team victory. So the Outlaws in strong position to potentially close out the series. We're going to go to another hybrid map. So the question is, you know, do the Fuel have the mental fortitude here?
Blizzard World is going to be our 6th map of the series, presumably chosen by the Dallas Fuel. One in which they will seek to try and force a 7th and final map. I mean, it's insane that this series has gone as far as it has here, but these two teams have been locked in these kind of duels over the years, of course, over previous showdowns and also in the Overwatch League. So it's great that we get to see this rivalry revived once more and with such a close result. Both teams are at their best right now, and that's exactly where we want to see them tested. So Blizzard World will see Dallas Fuel start on defense. They're going to be playing that Orisa Sigma composition. A lot of concessions to sort of dive here, Jake, with the Brig, the Ana, of course, mixed in there with Orisa.
Yeah, the Brig is going to give a lot of power to Doha in terms of taking those armor packs into the duel with Dante, but the BAP Zen for the Outlaws is going to give them a big edge in the shield trade. So the defenders, I think, are going to have to be the ones actually getting aggressive, which is not exactly the scenario you want to be in on defense. You want to be able to hold that ground, but you can see how quickly their shields are falling to that added pressure from Raucous and Repel.
Yeah, you called it a greedy composition on Rialto, but here when Dallas Fuel are really trying to batten the hatches as much as they can, it gives the Outlaws just the edge in damage trades and means that those Dallas Fuel shields don't last nearly as long as Houston's. Let's see if it works though. Raucous takes a big hit and has to sort of break line of sight for a moment now, and that's a nice little Pulse Accretion combo that forces Node immediately into a kinetic grasp, and Gumsu's a little bit low. He needs to be healed up, and Crimzo trying to do just that. Goes for a nano boost, and that may have just been to get the bulk burst healing onto the Orisa as Gumsu was getting low.
It's a big nade onto Raucous though, but the kills are still coming in for the Outlaws. They're doing a great job with their shields, protecting those low HP supports. Nice work by Hydration and Meko, and here we see the damage advantage really coming to bear. You know, as soon as Note has to use that kinetic grasp, he falls so far behind in the damage trade because although you're protecting yourself with a kinetic grasp, you're not continuing to put out damage, you're not farming your ultimate, and that's why we see Crimzo make the switch over to the Zen, closer to the BAP. They're gonna mirror, but now they're behind on the ultimates, and Houston just have to keep the snowball rolling.
I mean, it never feels good, right? Having to copy the enemy composition, but one fight late and one fight behind in terms of ultimate generation. It always sort of puts you a little bit further behind in the immediate future, but Doha makes a daring rush and is able to beam Dante down, but closer is missing. It's just as Zenyatta for Crimzo in terms of healing right now, and if the Outlaws can continue to output the damage, those healing resources will be sorely tested. Okay, well, Raucous going to get thrown down as Doha gets a copy on a Sigma there and able to get the Gravitic Flux very quickly. A fight like this is exactly what Dallas needed to make up for that ultimate charge deficit.
Hydration just trying to slip out of here with his life, and Decay is going to get the pick, but pays for it with his life, and with the closer spawn for the attack side here, going to be a bit of an edge here. Meko might be caught though. This is huge if they're able to pick off Meko. Dante going to copy as well, the Sigma. All in committing to this fight, but it seems that Fuel are stabilizing.
Dante gets very little done with that copy there. He was essentially on his own in that position as Sigma, and he'd lost his main tank elsewhere. But Gumsu has gone down though to Linksa, so that cart will still be able to move for the time being. There's not really anything right now for the Fuel to hide behind outside of Note's barrier. Dante could be in trouble. Yep, those sticky bombs definitely sealed his fate. Doha found him at half health and managed to get the assassinate.
Yeah, nice plays by Doha. Now he's going to get really aggressive with no counterpart to pressure him. It's going to be Meko and Hydration instead to try and take down this Echo, but you can see the Outlaws players in this corner dropping so low. Linkser is going to fall, and I don't know that the Rockets can commit to Transcendence here. I think this has to be a reset for the Outlaws, which is exactly what the Fuel would have hoped for now that they're starting to regain position. But actually, Outlaws, as I say that, managed to hide in the corner, re-stabilize, and Kinetic Grasp for Meko, so he shouldn't have a worry here, but Decay does find the crucial pick.
Yeah, I mean, Raucous is nowhere near Hydration at that point, so there's no shielding for him to get behind a Zenyatta, and the fragility of Zen was really exploited in that moment. Dallas Fuel intrinsically have high ground here again on this second phase of the map, and the Outlaws, if they're going to play something that is ostensibly greedy or a little bit, you know, vulnerable to poke damage like their current composition, their execution has to be much tighter. No reason to switch off Raucous now when you have Transcendence in play, but it may be a consideration in the future. Now Dallas have built up all of these ultimates, and that advantage Houston had to start with has gone.
Yeah, both teams with a ton of ultimates. So this fight is going to be very explosive. It's all about the pickoff. So these DPS players need to find some sort of edge in the fight. Amp Matrix from Houston is an edge for them, but Raucous and Dante are producing.
Yeah, that's insane. Again, it's just that extra damage that you have with the Zenyatta, the Batiste, of course, and the Echo just pounding damage out. Even if you are a long way away from the enemy team, even if you're not in a great spot theoretically, you still hit your shots. You're going to find you're going to win these fights. Bob, though, really doing a lot of work over the fight. 3 kills over 2 Bobs, and Decay was able to find a couple, but Hydration's already able to get the cart over the line here, and the Outlaws get a crucial time extension And that gravitic flux from Doha, not a big deal. He copied a Sigma, but it doesn't really get much value.
Yeah, Amp Matrix in the corner just proved too much for the Fuel. I don't think they were ready for that one because the picks just instantly came in from Dante and Raucous. And once you lose players, then all these ultimates that mostly serve to boost your overall team's damage become so much less efficient. Dante finds another one, so the snowball's going to continue to roll forward. Outlaws tanks, they're so aggressive, and it seems to be paying off right now. Hydration and Meko, no fear in their body, and Dante with another pick.
Yeah, the Outlaws' progress is coming in short bursts right now, but it's been effective in keeping them close to the end of the map with plenty of time left. Gamsu, that is just a gambit. It's a risk he takes. He's trying to burn Raucous down, and even as fragile as Zenyatta is, it's not easy for Orisa to take responsibility for solo kills like that. She's durable, but not exactly an assassin.
Nice little air shot heal by Repel there onto Dante. A small thing, but a little bit difficult to do in a lot of circumstances. Great copy onto the Sigma, though, potentially going to be able to defend his team here. And he goes back in to fight Decay once again on the flank. If Dante can find his kinetic grasp here, it could be big, but no, the picks are coming the way of the Fuel. This supercharger from Gamsu is just too much value.
Yeah, finally the Fuel stopped the Outlaws down once more. Houston, though, maybe not too bothered. They do have two support ultimates, crucially, one of them being Transcendence, a nice team-wide heal to come back in with. So they do have the tools. So it's going to be a matter now of breaking their way through. Now, they don't have to play from the low ground like they have on the last 2 points of the map. So that definitely is going to help them, especially with making it harder to hit Raucous in general. They need to get the Zenyatta in position to get a good Transcendence and let them brawl a little bit here.
Yeah, nice flank by Note. He is going to pick up everyone here, but perfect immortality drone by Repel. This is amazing, keeping everybody alive. Only Bob drops, but Outlaws not worried about that. They bought the time they needed to survive that crucial ultimate. Still Transcendence online for Raucous, but he doesn't want to commit it. He is going to be forced to, though.
Yeah, I think he saw the sticky bombs come in. I wasn't sure if he'd be able to survive it. But now with that Transcendence in play, where's the rest of the follow-up? Gamsu gets thrown up, and the gravitic flux for Meko. He gets Doha and Crimzo. Harder to see because they're around the corner, but still kills confirmed. And this latest high-profile signing for the Houston Outlaws is starting now to really show up in these games. Now Meko can push forward. There's still a minute and 14 seconds left in the round. He strikes off the sticky bombs, not too bothered. Here comes Gamsu, sets a barrier up, but that's going to be broken in a matter of moments, and the Orisa can't stand up to the scrutiny without the shield. Decay wants to flank. He's looking for a pick on Dante, and he finds it. Will that be enough to slow the Outlaws down now? They have 5 players and a supercharger, so plenty of extra damage, and Meko is playing very aggressively towards Doha, who won't have a chance to get gravitic flux at this rate.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way for Fuel to get back into this unless Decay can somehow come up huge, but Linkser wins the duel, is going to die to the Dynamite, but as you said, huge player add for the Outlaws. They're looking to cap this with some extra time. Few picks do come in, but spawns few and far between here for the defenders as Outlaws capping Blizzard World 30 seconds. That's an above average push. I mean, this is a map that we rarely see finished by attackers, so Outlaws, I think they're going to be very happy with this one, going to feel confident in closing out the series right here.
I mean, you're absolutely right. In the Overwatch League, we often see teams stop in that second phase of the map here. Blizzard World is really long. It's treacherous, and it's hard for attackers to make significant progress, but Houston should definitely be pleased being able to make such a quick attack on point A and then, burst through point B towards the end of a little bit of a hold. So confidence should be brimming for them right now, especially with Meko starting to fire up on that Sigma in a big way. And here it is, pound for pound. We saw a couple of different compositions earlier on in the series, but now that teams are playing essentially a mirror, the Outlaws look more comfortable and they look more effective across many of these picks. Dallas now will opt to try and go with a Zenyatta approach, but Crimzo, well, I'm sure he's aware of the risk that this entails.
Yeah, and it's a bit more of a balanced support selection from the Outlaws. Now on the defense, they pick the Batiste for some shield damage in the potential for the attackers to run an Orisa comp, and they also pick a Brig so that, if the Dallas go back to their tried and true dive comp, that they do have that durable support. Raucous has probably some traumatic memories from Rialto, the amount of pressure he experienced on the Zenyatta, but if Dallas go for the Bab Zen, they'll have an advantage in the shield trade, albeit a smaller one than the Outlaws were working with on their turn to attack. So we'll have to see if Dallas can repeat that quick take on point A. I think that has to be the start of a successful attack round here if Dallas want to finish this map with as much time as Houston were able to.
Houston, even though they got a quick take on point A, weren't able to snowball, so Dallas still have, done themselves a service by, stretching this one out and having only 30 seconds left on the clock for Houston timemate wise, but they now need to sort of follow up on that defensive effort. They have essentially a win condition is not set yet. They need to finish the map before they think about trying to win it. And that is not an easy thing. So they'll play safely from afar for the time being, get up close, and here's that shield trade that you expect Dallas to win out on with the Zenyatta.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to get value, and there they are. Decay finding a pickoff, so now the trade heavily in favor of the attackers. Linkster strikes back, though, even things up, so still a fight here. Doha on this flank, though, he could get a ton of value. He's not scouted, and Linkster's caught all alone.
Yeah, and that's all you need. Your combo can actually burn down even the largest of targets in a matter of seconds if you can get the drop on people. Repel going very low there to those sticky bombs, and the Outlaws are in a tough spot. They get note at least. Repel is down, so it's just repair pack healing. But Dante's returned to the fight. Meko buys a lot of time and has a lot of people sort of turning their attention towards him. But that immortality field makes it really hard now. The Outlaws are already low on personnel, and being unable to kill their targets doesn't make life any easier.
Decay, so many headshots. He's so deadly in these engagements, really being that superstar that the Fuel need him to be in this moment. Raucous is going to switch over to the Zen, and although he's behind in the Transcendence charge, I think it's going to be really impactful that Repel was holding on to that amplification matrix. Dante barely slips out with his life there, though.
Yeah, that full burst combo from Meko is just so filthy. But Decay's gone down. Meko able to get rid of a key damage dealer here, and Doha has to flank and make another play, but he's low and down. Hydration picks him off. Despite the Discord orb, Hydration shrugs off the damage and pushes up, and here's a good chance for the Outlaws to actually continue to force Dallas to play in this choke. Not where they want to be, when they really want to be flanking where they can with his Echo.
Oh, Mitch, this is really bad too. This is a map where you lose this particular fight pushing the cart, and the enemy is almost always going to spawn camp you. Outlaws know about this. They're pushing up to the high ground, and this is a hold that actually might be better than any of the traditional holds on the map. So when you get the opportunity to take this on defense, the attackers are surely hurting. You can see how awkward the positioning is for the Fuel and Dante once again.
Yeah, this could get really old really fast for the Fuel. In fairness, they've still got 4 minutes to work with, and they will likely eventually break this hold, but it's really about how long it takes now that they know that they have to be rather expedient as they progress through the map. They lose Gamsu once more, and the spawn camp still going strong.
Yeah, Closer has to drop the Immortality field just to keep him alive, but that's a very defensive field. It's really only going to keep them up in the corner. Decay switching over to the Soldier. That's a pretty odd choice here. I'm not really sure what his game plan is. Going to try and go for some sort of big flank. Does put a ton of damage on Closer, though. Or sorry, on Repel bit.
Yeah, and that should have been a kill from Decay there, but there was an Immortality field thrown down, so that Gravitic Flux from Note gets nothing, no value whatsoever. The only kill from Dallas was on a Bob, which is barely sentient, if I'm honest with you, and the Outlaws still have 6 players full strength, and they've already burnt about 50 seconds to a minute off the clock since this spawn camp started.
That was Fuel's big commitment. I mean, dropping 4 ultimates trying to break the spawn camp, and it doesn't work out at all. Dante in this corner, if he's not scouted, he could become a Sigma or an Orisa here, and it'd be so hard to answer. He already is on that flank that normally a Sigma would never be able to reach, highlighting the unique power of the copy, but instead he takes down the Bongo. Oh, it's so painful.
Another ultimate now gone to waste here for the Dallas Fuel. First Gravitic Flux, now the Supercharger, and Dante's in a great position to keep flanking. The Fuel don't really have the bandwidth to turn around and deal with this persistent thorn in their side. They're focused on trying to get the point. Doha trying to slow Dante down, but gets nowhere. And now we're into 90 seconds of spawn camp-based stall, and the Fuel are trying to flank en masse.
Yeah, this is all they really can do here. Hydration, fearlessly aggressive, does have that Immortality field behind him. Again, that confidence in the support line pays off. Repel gets the cleanup.
Repel's so good. Oh, he's so good. He saves Dante with a timely Immortality field and then just goes and gets 2 kills, picks up Doha. This is so frightening from the Outlaws. And Dallas are down to 2 minutes. They have lost 2 entire minutes of stall, and it doesn't look like this is going to let up anytime soon. Raucous and Repel have not been forced apart with those key support ultimates, and Dante still has a duplicate. Dallas Fuel, they're looking sad, sorry, and rather ragged presently.
Yeah, and focusing beam as well from Dante. They still has the copy online. Might look to be a Sigma here. No, going to be the Orisa. This is going to be so annoying. And he's right behind Doha as well. If Doha doesn't get a Supercharger off. Oh no, it's actually Dante who gets bursted. That's crucial.
Yeah, he gets bursted. Doha's able to stay alive long enough here. Now, Gravitic Flux is used. Doesn't catch a whole lot. Note still goes down though, so Dante was able to capitalize on the one target that was held aloft by the forces of gravity. And the Dallas Full again get trounced. Doha able to find a kill on Raucous there, and this might force Houston to give up this choke, but I mean, they have achieved everything they wanted with this stall and more.
Yeah, I mean, and they're not giving it up yet, right? These players, they're still fighting for it. Seems like now might be finally the moment. Losing Meko, that is a crucial hero that enables the spawn camp. So the Outlaws are just going to back off, and this got to be painful for the Fuel, right? They never really got that cathartic moment of actually defeating the hero spawn camping. Then they just got 1 or 2 crucial picks, and the Outlaws just go for the conservative play to back off here. And only 50 seconds left on the time bank, so if the Fuel finish this, it's almost certainly an overtime. Decay finds himself on the Soldier 76, which I think is a pretty awkward choice here in the shield trading comp. You know, Ash is always going to get the better of that.
Yeah, I mean, Dynamite does so much more, you know, in cases where the enemy team is grouped up here. So clearly there's an idea that Decay has. He's trying to work on it, but it's not making much of an impact so far. Doha loses that 1v1. Dante just gets a slew of kills. And now we're under 25 seconds for the Dallas Fuel. All of their hopes here in terms of the Lone Star Challenge hang in the balance. And they hang on this next fight. They have to win that one, and then the next, and the next, until they get this map done.
Yeah, and Decay might be working on his 5k time, but he's not really putting up too much damage for the team. Deep in the back line, pretty awkward positioning, and with Bob available for Linkster to stall the cart, and Supercharger as well on advantage for hydration, this could very easily be the end of the series here. Houston in full control. I think this is their map to lose.
Overtime now. Amplification Matrix used by the Fuel here to try and get through, but it's no good. Decay's gone down. That Soldier 76 pick hasn't panned out at all. Repels around to hide around the corner, and Gumsu gets a Discord orb for his trouble. The Houston Outlaws now in overtime get to throw down the Gravitic Flux, and they will hold aloft the Fuel players remaining as their trophy to add to the cabinet. And they are the victors here of the Lone Star Challenge. The Kings of Texas come from Houston.
What a comeback here, Mitch. Despite going down 3-1 in our challenge series, Houston fight back through the map pick advantage, able to secure Blizzard World here. Really impressive performance by them, and that spawn camp was just almost painful to watch. You know, I'm as biased towards Houston as anyone possibly could be, but I gotta say, getting spawn camp like that is so painful. I was feeling for the Fuel in that moment.
Yeah, it was tough to break. They couldn't flank the Outlaws at all. It was such a powerful position, and sort of as soon as you pointed out how scary that could be for Dallas, that was when Houston sort of kicked into gear, winning a fight there at the choke, and just a small moment of carelessness for the Dallas Fuel after they just managed to win. They just managed to get the cart rolling. But I think, Jake, as we look back now, you know, this is a series played without hero pools. This will also be mirroring the scenario at the end of the Overwatch League May Melee, right? The tournament's going right now. So things look very good for Houston. They have a composition they feel very comfortable with. Dallas, you know, in theory, we're looking like one of the top teams in the region right now, and the Outlaws are actually close towards the bottom of the standings as far as this month has gone. But we might see those results completely subverted now, now that we have crowned our champions of Texas heading into the end of the Overwatch League month.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Dallas, they're hurting at this moment. And, you know, for the Houston Outlaws, great looks from them. We saw tons of different roster looks. We saw Raucous and Repel. We saw Jexa and Repel, Raucous and Jexa. So we saw tons of different support looks. We saw Muma and Hydration sharing time on the main tank role, both of whom look good. And then as well, the DPS not seeming versatile as well, which is something we expected from the Outlaws. But I think the other two categories were a big surprise to me. So the fact that Outlaws have been able to utilize this larger roster, that's something that we've only really seen from the very best teams in the Overwatch League thus far. Whereas Fuel were just confident in their 6, but didn't really work out for them this series. Outlaws take it home very convincingly and felt like they had all the momentum in the world going into that last map.
Yeah, bottom line is, if you're a fan of Texas Overwatch League teams, then you have a reason to be optimistic either way. But even more so, if you're a fan of the Houston Outlaws, our victors today. I want to take this opportunity as well to give a huge thank you to our sponsor Samsung for making this Lone Star Challenge possible. Thank you for partnering along with this initiative and helping to shine a light on some of this fantastic talent out of Texas's Overwatch League teams. It's always a pleasure here to jump in and cast them as they go head to head. We get to put them through their paces in a very specific way. And there really can be no doubt now after this that we have emerged with a guaranteed and true victor in the Outlaws. So big shout out to the Houston organization who, you know, honestly, times have been a little bit tough for them, very up and down, and had to form essentially the core of a new team coming into this year. But a lot of those investments, those trades have paid off for them, and the future is looking quite bright for them, Jake. Any closing remarks you wanted to make here before we wrap up here?
Well, I just have to say thank you to both teams for participating, giving it your all. This was a series that didn't disappoint. We saw it go both ways. You know, the Fuel took an early lead. I thought very realistically they could have closed out this, especially after Hanamura coming back from a big deficit to win that map. But Houston dug their heels in, held down the fort, and this new roster for Houston, as you said, is looking deadly. The pickups look great. Coaching looks great. So props to Harsha as well, the coaching staff for the Outlaws, seeming very on point right now, ready to take on this post-hero pool situation.
Now, very quickly, if you are a local to the Texas region and you've either interested in or have been watching the docuseries that's running parallel to this event on TV, well, you should be tuning in, of course, if you're in Dallas to WFAA 8 or KHOU 11 in Houston at noon on Saturday, fittingly enough, of course, for the final episode of the docuseries on the Lone Star Challenge. Get a behind-the-scenes look at how these teams have gone through this process, this rigorous testing of a multitude of different tasks, and get some insights, some interviews from the players, bonus content, and really helping the immersion with this whole process. So quite impressive stuff here from both of our Texas teams, but ultimately it is the Houston Outlaws that triumph. 3 whole weeks we played these matches over here. Been an absolute pleasure to be here. Of course, my name is Mitch Leslie with Jake Lyon, of course, formerly of the Houston Outlaws. What a great chance to get to see some of our best teams in the Overwatch League go head-to-head over these last few weeks. And whether a Houston Outlaws or a Dallas Fuel fan, you should feel confident about the future for these two teams in the Overwatch League. Texas is rising. Stay tuned for more, of course, from these two rosters, and thank you for watching.